Have you ever had a seizure while having sex? That was the funniest thing I've seen in a while. So
Yeah.
uh kind of going through that. Was that you? You been through that?
Oh yeah, man, I've been through that, but thankfully only once, and
Mine was
I've
twice.
already
Try not to do it again.
twice.
Mine was twice.
Nah,
It was wild.
nah, man, it was crazy. Like, there was this ex-girlfriend of mine, and we just got back together, and we started like, getting back together, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And one day we booked like a hotel because we
Hmm.
couldn't do it at her or at mine. So she booked a hotel room, and we started like getting like we
Yeah.
started doing having sex,
Got
and
you.
I think we didn't even get to that part. It was like
Yeah.
foreplay and everything,
Didn't
and
even
right
get there.
before right before we had sex, the next thing I know, I was laying on the bed,
Mm.
like she was looking at me like, boy, what the fuck did just happen? Because I think I tend to, when I'm having a seizure, I talk in my mother language, like in
Oh,
Turkish.
okay, okay.
I don't know why. My doctor couldn't tell me why, but I only speak in Turkish. So she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man? I don't understand shit. Like, what happened?" And at that time, I wasn't diagnosed with anything, so I didn't even knew what
Oh,
this
you
was.
didn't even know what was going on yet.
I couldn't even tell her what it was because it sounded so crazy. I was like, yo, I was having a deja vu and I was scared for my life and all the shit, while having a seizure,
Yeah.
while having an aura.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell her. So I was
I
like,
just I just start understanding what focal seizures are. And I've been going through that for
mhm,
10 years and I never paid attention to it. I thought it was just a sign like focal seizure.
okay,
I thought it was just telling me like go lay down somewhere, prepare for a seizure. And come
yeah,
to
yeah,
find out that's focal seizure is actually a seizure. I've blanked out. One time I was at the train station and the train was coming. So I stepped back from the platform and
yeah.
after that, I blanked out. When I came to, I was taking a selfie and the train was pulling off. I don't know what happened. I don't know how long I was gone. Ah,
Yeah, man, that's the worst, going blank and not knowing what the fuck just happened. Like, you're like,
right,
did I do anything like embarrassing or, you know,
right.
you just
Like
came back and you're like, poof,
yeah, there
what
was one
happened?
time, there was another time where I blacked out and I left work. Um,
Hmm.
I went I went 17 miles to my hometown instead of going 4 miles to where I was actually living.
It happened like during work too. Back then, when I first started having it, it was at work, at my last work as a painting technician.
Hmm.
And often I was like, I started painting, and I was like, I hold it in my hand like then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? And
Right.
why do I have it in my hand? And then I was like, a couple of minutes later, I was like, oh yeah, right, I'm working here. That's why I'm here. I always forget like what am I doing here? Why I'm not at home?
Every job I've
Ah.
had, I had a seizure at. The worst one was having a seizure when I worked at Krispy Kreme. They had the fryer,
Hmm.
and I fell in the fryer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. How did, with your whole arm or like?
like, but it was like, it was what was crazy was as soon as I touched it, I came back, and then I was like, oh, and then I had another seizure. But that grease, falling in the grease, wake
Oh
you
man,
up, bring you
no.
back.
But how are the employees? Like, how do I, what's called in English? How do they react to it? Like having
Um, Everybody
epilepsy.
was kind of scared and they were like, whoa, what's going on? I don't think a lot of people
Hmm.
understood because I think that was my first one on the job. And yeah,
Okay.
it was crazy. And then I just took a few days off. I got workers' comp. Yeah, there's been some crazy
I think
situations.
hardly anyone knows about this. If you're not involved in this, if you're not affected by it, they
Yeah,
don't really know what, like focal seizures are seizures too,
yeah.
and nobody really knows about this. They're
Yeah,
like,
you
yeah,
could have a
you
focal
just,
seizure in a room with somebody and they wouldn't even know.
yeah, exactly. And they don't understand it. Like, you're just out of your mind, or you're just confused right now. But they
Yeah,
don't know that it's a seizure too, and
yeah.
it can be dangerous.
There
Like,
was there's one seizure that I have. It's where my hands get really clammy and I start sweating. And yeah, I didn't know that was a seizure. I thought I was just like having like a precursor, like telling me to go sit down somewhere. I thought that was like telling me, go
yeah,
sit down, you're going to have a seizure. But come to find out, that was
mhm.
a seizure. The clammy feeling and getting like the
Yeah,
chills, and then I'm
exactly.
sweating. And then I get a headache real fast, and it's crazy. So I'm doing this for like epilepsy awareness.
It's really great. I just joined the sub on Reddit like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't even know about it.
Oh,
So this like
yeah,
really great for to get together and talk about this.
yeah. So like, I thought this would be really interesting just to talk with people. Just we have an
Mm-hmm.
understanding for each other because we all going through this. This is like
Mm-hmm.
a unique experience or a unique struggle for some of us. Uh, Not everybody understand what we going through, and I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
explain to everybody what
It
I'm
also
going
helps
through.
talking about it.
Huh?
It also helps. It also helps talking about it with people who are also going through it.
Right.
Like,
That's the best thing, being
it's
able to
something
talk to
different.
people who
Yeah.
actually going through it, and you don't have nobody judging nobody because everybody's going through it, and we can all kind of laugh together. I don't want to be laughing with somebody who's laughing
Mm-hmm.
at me and not laughing with me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why we can both laugh about
Yeah.
it. So let's
Yeah.
see.
So also I seen something that said there was a $80 epilepsy pillow. You ever heard of that?
No, no, I read about it, but is there really something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they
Like,
said for people who have nocturnal seizures, people who have them in their sleep. Um, I don't know how it works.
I I think it's like you take it with yourself, and when you start to have a seizure, you fall on the ground with a nice pillow, so that nothing happens to you.
I
That's
guess
what I thought.
I don't think that's gonna work, but they they think it works. So how old were you when you first got epilepsy?
I was like 21
Oh, okay.
when it
Yeah, you
first.
said you didn't understand it then. Okay, yeah,
I didn't. No, I think it was normal. Like I'm having like it was like I thought this was like insecurity, because sometimes I thought about stuff that I did, and suddenly I had this feeling. I was like, ah, fuck, why did I do it? Like, it's really cringe. And
mm,
I thought it was like that, nothing more,
yeah.
until I um, it was also something else that I have. You ever heard about tuberculosis, TSC?
TC.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, those are the
tuberculosis
ones that I have. But
tuberculosis sclerosis.
the whole time I was having seizures, like people with the emergency people, ambulance, they would ask me, what kind of seizure did you have? I didn't know there
Mhm.
was other seizures having. I'd be like, I have the shaking ones. The grand
Yeah.
mal. I told the one where you shaking, you foam at the mouth, and they like, oh, okay. People were telling me about tonic clonic and focal
Mhm.
myoclonic, and I'm like, okay, explain those to me. So when somebody explained it, I was like, these are symptoms I've been going through for 10 years and I didn't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
did not know I was having seizures all that time. So when I talked to my doctor, he's like, "Are you serious? You didn't tell me this. You didn't keep me up to date." And I had to explain to him I did not know what I was going through. I thought, like
Yeah.
I said, I thought it was just like a precursor. I thought it was just something telling me, sit down, you're gonna have a seizure. I thought that's what it was, but that's not what it was. It was actually a seizure. And then
The funny thing about it, I told my doctor, like, it's a really strange and hard to describe feeling. And she was like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because
yeah,
often people with epilepsy, with these auras, they are always hard to explain. So she understood me like exactly. Yeah, I know it's very hard to explain and shit like that. And she was like, I know this is like, as you said, a focal aura. And there are also different types. They're like focal aware
yeah.
and focal unaware auras. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, like you don't know. what? No. Can you control what you're doing when you have a seizure? Not really, yeah? Like,
With the focal, it's like when I bounce back, and then I can. When I come to, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to do this. I'm like,
There
all
we go.
right,
oh, Kevin. Yeah.
Hi, good to see
yeah,
you. I just woke up and I saw that on the uh,
yeah.
I just woke up
We're
too,
gonna
man.
do more. But
all
we
right.
were talking about times where like me and him had like focal seizures, and I had one most recently where I was like pouring a cup of juice and then I blacked out, and when I came to, the cup was like overflowing. There was juice all over the counter. You have any focal unaware?
I got to think now.
Huh?
Uh, I got to gather my information. No, anytime like I've dropped anything or uh, just I mean it's been a long time, but I've had my seizures under control, but I was out in a large controlled a large very I still get very dizzy in heated areas, and it was I couldn't um I can't I still can't go into very crowded areas. That's a very bad
Okay.
place for me. Um, and I had to. It's a really great eating place. It's called Reading Terminal in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Um, I just had to leave the area.
Okay. Yeah. Do you get
Uh,
like anxiety from the crowd?
yeah, it causes great frustration and anxiety. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Man,
Yeah.
Also, me and
do
him,
you
we
have
were talking
triggers?
about. Go ahead.
Do you both have like certain triggers?
Um, to be honest, everybody always asks me that. I haven't found out what my triggers are. I just kind of come to, and then I'm like, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember the trigger.
Exactly, because Kevin just mentioned about the concert. It was like I went to a concert and nothing happened. And then the next day I was laying at home, relaxed and chilling, and suddenly it happened. Like that's the problem. I have no triggers. It can happen anytime.
Yeah,
It can happen when I'm totally relaxed, or it can happen when I'm stressed. So it's really you can't see when it's coming. It can
yeah.
happen anytime.
Also, with the focals, I kind I kind of did notice one time that um I was just kind of the getting clammy feeling. I was having that, and then like the metallic feeling in your mouth where you're tasting like weird smell, the mouth
Yeah, yeah,
dry.
yeah.
I get that,
Yeah.
and mouth real dry, and I'm like, it's a bad smell. Then I get something to drink. That's pretty much it.
But my mouth starts getting like full, with salvia.
Yeah. Also, like the medication that I take, it kind of messes with my appetite, so I don't exactly have the urge to eat sometimes, and then I have bad memories,
Mhm.
so I don't even
And
remember what I ate today.
my memory went to shit, since I'm getting medicated.
Oh yeah.
It's really
Oh,
like it's it's like a running gag in my family. It's like when we talk about something like, yeah, you remember this and this, and they're like, oh Mo, I know you don't remember. Like I'm sure you don't remember. It's always like that because they know I forget about we went to a restaurant and I was like, damn man, this food is really great. I was never here. And it was like, oh, we already been twice here, but you don't remember it. So it's
yeah. It's
always like
like
that. Because
with
I can't
mine,
remember.
with mine, I wish I had your people. Not many people understand, and sometimes when I have bad memory, they're like, "Oh no, you don't have bad memory. You just remember what you want to remember and stuff like that." So I just be like, "All right, I'm not gonna argue. I'm gonna just agree with you and go about my
Mhm.
life."
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that happens to me. Like still to this day, like huge events that happened. and my family's like you don't remember that thing that happened like when we moved into the house someone's car caught on fire like and I'm like I don't remember that.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. What the hell are you talking about? Oh my God. Or someone's house got raided right down the street. What? Oh my God. No, what are you talking about? And yeah, all these huge memories. And uh, I wasn't there. What are you talking about?
yeah.
Um,
That's too. There was like there was something like we went somewhere or we did something like hiking or stuff, and I was like, oh man, I wish I would be there too. And then they showed me a picture like I was standing right beside him. And I was like, boy, you was right beside me.
You
And I
was
was like,
there.
nah, man, that's photoshopped. I can't remember.
yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah,
Really,
I
man.
hate that. I hate when some people they don't take it serious because they don't understand because they're not going through it. So, like I said, some
Yeah.
people they'll be like, "Oh no, your memory's good. You just remember what you want to remember," and like it's my long term memory is pretty good. I can remember stuff when I was a kid, full days
Mm-hmm.
and events and stuff, but I can turn around and go down the hallway to the kitchen and turn around and forgot what I even went to the kitchen for. So
Mm-hmm.
my short term is shit. It's over with.
Yeah. I did that yesterday. I went up into my room in the attic and I was, what the hell did I come here for? Oh my God, Jesus. Oh man, well, what am I here for? Oh, but
I
yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
it's because of the treatment or because of the man, what's called in English, like medications, pills from the pills. I
Bill,
don't know if it's from the pills or if it's from the seizures itself. These huge memory losses. I still don't know which effect.
to be honest, I think it's the pills they giving us because everybody's going through
yes,
like memory problems. I really think it's the pills because a seizure, I remember before the seizure, like it's the pills, I'm sure. But then when we talk to doctors and they're not going through this, they got this from what they read on paper and read in college and read
Mm-hmm.
results. They don't understand because they're not going through this. And some of them, they'd be like, oh, okay, you went through this, and this, and this, and that's all.
And the problem was I was talking to my neurologist, and I told her about all these huge memory losses, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, let's do a test. And then they did like, you know, they showed me like a square, a red triangle and stuff like that. And they asked me 10 minutes later, they asked me about it.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
did.
of course I'm gonna remember it. You know that's not what I mean. But they was like, oh yeah,
mm,
you remember all. You also remembered the questions that I asked you. So this should be everything should be okay. You're fine. And I
Yeah, I
was like,
did
no,
that same test and
you
I
can
did
describe it.
horrible.
And then you feel really helpless. You know, you're like that's not what I mean. Of
Yeah,
course, I can remember it in a situation like that. But
yeah.
and then you can't do anything. Then you
yeah.
just you're on your own.
Right. There was one time I did that test, and there was like page one, they showed me some pictures, and then page two, they read it, and then they were like, do you remember what this is? Do you remember what this is? And I'm like, no, I don't remember this. And then she was like, do you know
Mm.
what the next page was about? And I was like, no. And she was like, the next page is telling you about what was on the first page. I was like, well, you expect me to remember that? You know what's going on. I'm here for a memory test. Obviously, something
Mhm.
you should understand that I do not remember. Then there was another neurologist like, oh, we can do a brain surgery or something like that. I was like, I'd rather just
Yeah.
I'd rather just deal with this and take my pills every now and then have one. I'm not gonna have a seizure um, or have a surgery or anything like that. Yeah,
You know
not necessary.
that's interesting. That is so different because in a situation like this, like in a stuff like that, I can remember. Like when you show me a picture and 10 minutes later you ask me about it. because I knew exactly that this is a test right now, so I have to remember it.
Yeah,
But I'm telling her about, we do events together, we do something together, and I can remember it 1 month later.
yeah.
But they can't relate to it. They're like, okay, maybe you're just forgetful. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine,
good.
okay.
Hey Kevin, did you hear about the $80 seizure pillow?
No. Oh wait. Uh, yes. I think I saw that on the
Yeah, I seen it
yeah,
yesterday,
yeah.
and I was
Yeah, I
just
saw
like,
that on
seizure
the
pillow. I mean, it's $80. It's worth. My wife is worth $80. Of course, but I was just like, I don't have seizures in my sleep, so I don't think I would get it. Not that it'd be a waste or anything, but I felt like I didn't need it.
yeah, I'm pretty good right now with seizures, but
When's the last time
yeah.
you had a seizure?
Uh grand mal seizure about 6 years ago.
Oh, nice. You had a big.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm minor control, but I'm my problem right now is uh memory and stuff.
Okay.
Uh how are you two when was
I can go a
no,
little bit without a seizure. Like I had one on January 15th, and then I didn't have another one until April 11th. So
okay.
I'm gonna try to make it more than 3 months next time. But I
Okay.
don't know. So with a
Uh,
prayer, hopefully
Mhm.
it happens. Hopefully I can go 3 months, 4 months, and then 6 years like you.
okay.
Yes, yeah.
But my difficulty is getting back into society. I'm not working or anything, and
Me either.
uh, yeah, so that's the problem. I still, you said the medicine is really messing with my memory, and
Mhm.
I'm trying really hard to um, pass certain certifications with IT, and it's really difficult.
Now,
And
what are you on? Like which pills?
Depakote, Topamax, and Onvi.
Okay,
So,
okay. And
and
I
you,
yeah,
take what is it, 200 milligrams of Lamictal twice daily.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
I took Keppra, but I was having more seizures than
Man, I read so much negative stuff about Kepra. We don't have it here in Europe. Like
yeah.
we
Everybody
don't have
hates
it.
it. I'm not gonna take it again. But
Hmm.
I have quite a few medications that they always give me like stuff and like let's see.
I've never heard a good story about Capra. Yeah.
Never a good story or never a bad story. What did you?
Oh,
I didn't.
I I was on Capra in 2008, and
Hmm.
I had very bad rage problems with Capra.
Okay.
So
I don't know
I,
why.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Keppra here.
Hmm.
Then they gave
uh,
me another one, and not taking them. And then they gave me this. You ever heard of Nasalium?
No, no, neither here. Okay.
Yeah, when the doctor gave it to me in the emergency room, she was like, "This is a rescue medication," and that's exactly
oh,
what she did. Is rescue medication. I'm like, "What does that mean?" And then I was somewhere else with someone, and he said when he takes those, he like goes to sleep like within 10 seconds, and I was like, "Okay,
Oh, okay. The
I'm not sure
rescue
if I want
period.
that. I guess it's gonna stop you from having a seizure because of your sleep. I don't know how that works, but I was just like, "No, I'm all right."
Yeah, let's take it in the bus.
Yeah.
Like when you're having a seizure, just pass out for a couple hours.
I have lorazepam for that. That's
Oh yeah,
my
I have some of that, but I don't.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah.
They always give me like a whole bunch of different medications in the emergency room, so I just don't take them because my neurologist says don't take whatever they give me in the emergency room.
Do you have any weird emergency room stories?
Um, One time I took the IV out and I left, and then they made it to my house before I did. The ambulance, I mean, the police, they were knocking on the door at my house. And then when I got there, my family's like, hey, what happened? You left the hospital? And
I did that too.
I had the
Same.
gauze on and it was still bleeding, and I'm trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, I did that.
Crazy story.
Freaked out in the hospital, and I panicked and I left. I had hospitals right down the street, and I got because it messes with your head, and I had a grand mal seizure, and uh, hospitals right down the street, and I got lost coming home.
Mm.
Yeah,
I know this. I know the neighborhood, and I don't know. It took me like 2 hours to get home.
Wow.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah.
You ever had seizure during sex? No.
Nah, I've heard a lot of that. But
Yeah, I read a lot about it. I mean, I've had two, but yeah. And yeah. You ever had a seizure while driving?
Oh
yes.
yeah, more than before I got diagnosed. Before I knew what it was, I was always driving, also for work, and there's always like these hours when I got all these focal unaware seizures. But I still have myself under control. Like I still drove like normal, like everybody else, like nothing happened. But it always happened. I was like, nah, man, not right now. I'm in the, you know,
Yeah.
I'm right now on the street. Like I can't have this right now. Like I can't deal with it. Not now. Come back later again.
Yeah, come back.
Like, I'm driving right now.
Let me at least finish what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But thank God nothing happened till this day. Like I stopped driving. I'm too scared for it. Like
Mine, I only had one. I'm not gonna say I never drove after that, but I only had one where I crashed. I was turning and I was on the outside lane going onto a straight, going toward a bridge. I scraped the wall, and then that's when the airbag came out. And I guess when the airbag hit me, it brought me back. So I pulled over,
but yeah.
and then I had another one. And the guy who passed me, who seen it, he was a doctor and he just left work, and he had a Santa outfit on. So when I'm coming to, he's running towards me with a Santa outfit on. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He gets to us and he's like, I'm a doctor. I see what happened. And he's like, have you been diagnosed? And I'm like,
Must have been a weird trip, and that yeah, geez.
yeah.
Do you still have your license?
No.
Hmm.
No. They took that license a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So
They didn't took mine, but I'm not allowed, so it doesn't matter. Like it's no difference because when they pull me up and they look at the record, then they know exactly that I'm having it. So I'm like, it's lays somewhere around here, my license.
yeah.
I have to go 1 year without a seizure, then I can get it back.
My doctor told me 2 years. I heard that in Oregon, it's like 2 or 3 months, which is crazy.
Wow. No, it's like 1 year and then you're officially seizure free.
Yeah, in California, you got to have 2 years free, and in Oregon, it's 2 or 3 months, which I thought.
Let's move to Oregon. Wait 2-3 months, and then you can move back.
Come back with an Oregon driver's license.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's 6 months here in Pennsylvania. I mean, but we got really good public transportation, so there's no point. And
yeah, me too. Yes, thank God we have like really great public transportation.
Uber, Lyft, train, bus. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How did it start for you, Kevin?
Oh, I was 12 years old. That was my first grand mal, and it's right over there. I'm looking at it. First grand mal.
Mine was 5 years old. I got ran over by a car.
Oh,
I was in the crosswalk, but there wasn't a stop sign.
Sorry to hear that. That's
all I remember is going to sleep the night before. I don't remember waking up to go to school. So I only had one that time when I was in the hospital when I was 5. And then when I was 16, I had one. in web design class.
I feel like I'm lucky because mine started only 7 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Like you tell me about 12. With 12, you talk about with 5 years. Like thank God I started having it at 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah.
still, it's like
At first, I thought, okay, it's gonna be okay. I can deal with it. They're gonna give me some pills, but then they were like, "You're gonna have this for the rest of your life," and I was like, "Really? Forever?" And they're like,
it's expensive.
"Yeah."
It's
They're like,
expensive.
"You're gonna have this forever. The epilepsy doesn't go away." For a while, I was a little self conscious, but then I was just like, "I got to get over it. It's not going away."
Yeah, but it's expensive. It's getting expensive. Like I have to buy new pills like every 3 weeks or something like that. And you know, it adds up.
I get mine every 3 months.
Okay, we have like smaller packages. That's why.
Okay, yeah, I get a bottle that lasts 1 month, but I get 3 bottles, so it'll
Mhm.
last 3 months, and yeah.
But it's expensive, man.
Yes, it
I
is.
don't like taking it for 7 years. Like when you, you know, how long do you take? Since when do you take pills?
I've been taking pills for about 20 years. At first, I was on Dilantin, and then they switched me to Keppra, and then they switched me to Lamictal. So the seizure while driving post, I got a lot of comments on, and a few of them were funny. Um, Someone said my last two seizures were behind the wheel, just a year apart. I've been seizure free for some time now, but I feel apprehensive about driving for myself or others' safety. Right. There were some actually funny ones, which were really crazy. Let me find it. Somebody said I had a stroke about 3.5 years ago. Didn't have epilepsy before the stroke, and I never considered it was a possibility afterwards. I had just got healthy enough to go back to work after the stroke. It was about 5 months. I was like 3.5 weeks back to work. It was a Thursday. And I felt everything was okay. At least I didn't feel great, but I didn't feel bad either. So one day I was getting ready for work, had a big meeting that day, and had been working on a proposal for 2 weeks nonstop. It was a huge deal for my company, so I was stressed over it. But like I said, I felt okay. I was getting ready for work and just had an overwhelming feeling of impending doom. Even said something to my wife about it, and she's like, "Okay, babe, you're stressed over this meeting. You're gonna crush it. I love you. Have a good day." She kissed him. I jumped in my truck to go to work, 9 miles away. I made it about 2 miles. I remember pulling out of the driveway, but not making the two turns that I made to get where I crashed at. I blown a
Mhm.
stoplight where I was supposed to turn onto an on ramp to get onto I-75 and T-boned a carload of elderly people. Wow. Luckily, none of them were hurt. I did break my back in two places, probably being in full seizure during the crash. Tense bodies coming to abrupt stops are not good, of course. As my doctor put it, honestly, I look at it like I'm incredibly lucky because I would have made that turn instead of blowing that stoplight, which I could have done. I made two other turns and don't remember doing them. Going there's a good chance I was going 70 to 80 miles per hour. Wow. When I had the
Mhm.
seizure, and probably definitely would have killed myself. And who knows how many people around me. Morning rush hour traffic, I-75 in a major metro area. It could have been a horrible outcome for many people. So I don't drive anymore. And I haven't had that aura or feeling impending doom since that time. Every seizure I've had since, I'm doing whatever 1 second, feeling normal, and then I'm waking up in a hospital, just like me, usually 30 to 90 minutes later with zero idea of how I got there the first few times. The last few times, I'm like, okay, I was just sitting in bed watching Criminal Minds. Now I'm waking up in a hospital covered in piss. Must have had another seizure. It sucks, but it is what it is. It can always be worse. Right.
Man, that's the 2 points, man. First, that's what makes it scary. You know, you think like you're finally like schizophrenic,
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, everything is fine. I'm seizure free and I have no epilepsy yet. And suddenly it hits you again, like out of nowhere.
Right. You thought you were good. Like, I'm doing good. I've been doing good. I've been doing what I need to do to take care of it.
I start driving again, and then suddenly you going
Right.
like 80 miles per hour, and
That's like the people who talking about their seizures are controlled. I'd never drive again. Even if I don't have seizures anytime soon, I'd always be thinking I'm gonna have some eventually. And yeah, I gotta be here for my kids.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's another one I have here. It says I found out I hold on. It says I found out I had epilepsy by having a seizure while driving. I was so ridiculously lucky. I had just gotten off a major highway and I was turning into a residential road when I just fell asleep. I had slow rolled into a church on Sunday, and luckily there were people outside who saw what happened and called the ambulance. I woke up strapped in and confused. Yeah, that's how it goes. Didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see either. I own my business with my husband, and we basically go everywhere together. So I just don't drive anymore. I'm terrified I could kill someone. Oh yeah,
That's true.
should be terrified. That's how it goes. Okay, so I have another story. It says 12 years ago I had a seizure and crashed into a ditch. Luckily, one of my family friends found me and called my parents at the time. At the time, they told me it was a heart condition and it couldn't happen. What did it say? It couldn't happen while driving. Luckily, I just messed up my back and they were able to diagnose me. Been on Keppra ever since. Have been seizure free for 12 years. Wow. These long-term stories always amaze me. 12 years?
You see how many people are struggling, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't even know
like
about it. Like,
everybody who posts, they're like posting how much they're struggling. Then there's those few people who've been like, I've been going through this forever and doing good now. Nah.
will we ever do good?
One time I left home to go to the store. I walked into the store because it was at the corner. I don't know if I was on the way back or on the way there, but I think either way, I went to a rehab that was on the same street, and I went inside and I told them, "This is my house. Get the fuck out of here." Luckily, someone knew me because stuff like that can get you in a lot of trouble. You could end up wake up in the worst situation. But
Yeah,
somebody had seen me, like the ambulance come pick me up on that street quite a few times. So they're like, okay, I know he's from down there. That's his family. Let me go get them. Then there was another time. There was another time where I woke up on the second floor with no shoes on, but I stayed on the fourth floor. So it was just confusion when I woke up and
like
I
a
was sitting
hangover.
down.
Yeah.
Say that again?
It's like a hangover, right? Like you wake up
Yeah.
with no shoes and
It's like, oh, what am I doing?
with a knockout
The
teeth.
headache, and you're like, but yeah, I woke up on the second floor.
Ah, there we go.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing?
I was explaining some funny stories, funny to me at least. There was a time that I was going to the store, which was at the corner of my house, and I actually went inside of a rehab, and I told everybody, "This is my house. Get the fuck out of here." And luckily someone knew me from down the street and went and got my peoples. But then the other one was me waking up on the second floor when I lived on the fourth floor. I woke up because someone passed by and I followed him, and he keeps looking back at me. Then he gets to his door and he looks back and I'm standing there. He opens the door and he unlocks it, and then I walk straight in. Luckily, I didn't get killed or anything or shot, but yeah, those are horrible situations to wake up in. So the next day, I wouldn't apologize because I told him I was confused, I was lost, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, I understand." He was like, "I know who you are," and yeah. So, wow.
But you know what's funny to me? I mean, you're following, like you stand right behind him, and he still opens the door like nothing is
Right, he's
happening.
like, open the door.
No, never open the door with like, okay, hey, do you know?
I wouldn't have opened the door.
But he already knew you, right? Like from
Yeah, he
clinic.
says he knew me, and
Oh,
then
okay, yeah.
yeah. So luckily, I go into situations where people either know me or they know my family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Kevin, there was one time I had a seizure and I was at work and I fell in the fryer.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
That's
seizures
why
like that,
I'm afraid to work in situations like that. I
I
can't do
love
that. But
working, man. I love working, but my family thinks you shouldn't be working. Well, of course, I shouldn't be because of the situations. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've had a
So,
seizure as being cashier. I don't know how that happened or what happened, but yeah, I've had so many seizures in my hometown that the ambulance they know me.
like, oh, it's Pookie again.
Yeah, it's like they came to me at my job when I had a seizure, and then my boss, she's in a panic, and they're like, "Ma'am, calm down. We know him. We got this." She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was having seizures before this store was built."
My seizures are longer around than your store.
Right.
You know what? Back when I was living with my parents, the only thing that happened to me once was like, I was ringing and knocking on the door for like half an hour because I was like, man, I know they're at home, but why aren't they opening the door? And then I was
Right.
like, oh shit, I'm at the wrong address. That's the wrong door. And I don't know. I think they were scared or something like that because they didn't want to open the door. And thank God nobody saw me, and I just left. And I was like, oh, sorry guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, I was reading some stories about people who had seizures while driving, which you get the craziest stories of people. Some people they think theirs is under control and stuff, and they just decide to drive and put others' lives at risk. But some of them they understand they shouldn't put others' lives at risk, and then they tell their funny stories. And I was looking for one in particular. Somebody said I pulled a Dukes of Hazard into a shallow end of a lake. Someone had to drag me out of the car. It happened 5 days after my daughter was born. Well, luckily you lived, man. Luckily you lived.
Mhm.
I
Someone
mean,
else said, I knew I needed to pull over, so I started looking for a spot. I was alone on a small highway in the middle of nowhere and should have just put put it in park and threw on the hazards. However, I did not and went off the road and apparently airborne for a minute. I broke my tailbone, neck, and cracked sternum. The neck was
Mm.
a dot. It was a rare break between levels C1 and C2. I'm really lucky I'm not dead or paralyzed. Right. I'm so glad you were able to live through yours. And I said, thank you.
And driving is really like forbidden for us, I
It
think.
feels better when I think about it wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I'm not the
But
only one dealing with this.
it was like I'm one of the few ones in my family who always drives the car. I'm always like, oh, give me the keys, I drive it. And
Mm,
now since I can't drive anymore, there's like a huge gap, because nobody
mhm.
else wants to drive. It's like when,
Right.
when we have like driving for 4 hours straight or something like that. It's okay for me. It's no problem. I do it. But now that I can't anymore, they're always like fighting who should drive. But I'm like, sorry guys, I would love to, but
You got a
you know,
designated driver.
yeah. I'm like, don't put your life at risk.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Um, I was looking at another one where someone told me his seizures were under control, and then I was like, "What do you consider under control?" And he was like, "When I get my driver's license back and I'm driving." I'm like, "So now you're driving?" I was like, "When's the last time you had a seizure?" And he's like, "6 months ago." I was like, "Okay, yeah, that depends on the state you're in because they're not giving me a license in 6 months in California. It's not happening."
It's funny that there are, differences in between the states.
Yeah, there's so many differences. Like I said, Oregon is like 2 or 3 months. So
I,
yeah,
I thought it's like, 1 year across the whole US, but
yeah,
it
I gotta
doesn't
have
seem
it
to
too.
be.
You're in Turkey?
No, in Austria, Europe.
You're in Austria. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And here
Nice.
like 1 year.
Oh man.
And this.
Like I'm looking at some of these posts and these people saying they're at 3,500 milligrams of Keppra plus 400 milligrams of lamotrigine. That's a lot.
I am on 200 milligrams Lamictal
Me too.
and on 400 milligrams what to call again, levetiracetam or something. Maybe I have to show you. I can't pronounce it right. So this one. So wait. So this one.
Oh, never seen that.
Yeah, 500 milligrams. Yeah.
Uh,
And I take like 1.5, so it's like 750 milligrams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot too, I think. But you know,
Yeah,
they
so
always
I'm taking 200 milligrams twice daily, 12 hours apart.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I take both of these twice a day. They keep on adding the dosage higher and higher.
Yeah. I'm hoping they don't higher the dose, but I mean if they have to, I'll deal with it. I just don't want to go back to Keppra because I don't believe it worked for me. With Lamictal, I'm having like 3 to 5 a year. On Keppra, I was having like 2 and 3 a month. So it's better.
I've
When
not
you
heard
talked about,
a lot of good
yeah,
stories
go
about
ahead.
Capra.
Yeah, I haven't heard any good stories either. Some people be like, I've been on it for 20 years and I'm still having seizures. And I'd be like, okay, that's time for a change. But yeah, some people they're like, oh no, I've been taking this so long, I don't want to change. And I understand that people don't want to change because you've been on this for so long, and then you got to go deal with side effects of something else that might mess with something else. And yeah, these doctors, they just throwing
Man,
out
you
pills.
you talked about not wanting to do a surgery, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to do a surgery. They wanted me to do a
Like,
brain surgery just for bad memory.
Mm.
man, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, if it guarantees that you'll be seizure free and everything, I think maybe it's not that bad, right?
I don't think it was meant to repair the seizures. I think it was to repair memory loss. They said I was losing memory too fast for my age.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't for seizures. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind just having bad memory. You're not gonna cut my head open just
Oh,
for that. No,
I
I'll write
was
stuff
confused,
down before I
you
get a
know?
surgery.
well, I can't comment on that. I mean, I had a different kind of surgery. I had the VNS surgery, but
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Tell me about it. What's that like?
that worked pretty well. I had that about I think 8 years ago, and yeah, that sounds about right. 8 years ago, and it took about a year and a half to work, and yeah, it just uses a magnet. You swipe it across the chest. It's not in the head or anything. It's an implant in the chest, about
Oh,
right about here, and it stimulates a nerve, um, the vagus nerve,
Mm-hmm.
in the neck and down the arm. So what you do is when you're feeling an aura or a seizure come on, you just swipe. I have a magnet around here somewhere. I always keep one handy. You just swipe the magnet, and that keeps it under control. Hold on. Let me see
Oh,
if I can.
okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna
I
make
got one
it
here.
see who joins.
Yeah. I recently had a battery replacement in January, and they gave me a don't want to get magnets too close to electronics. So just gonna show, like that.
Mhm.
And you could
Okay.
just swipe it across the chest like that.
And it really
Fine.
helps, right?
Yeah, it's good. Whenever
You
you
have to
get
always be
dizzy or
around.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's good. Yeah, it doesn't hurt or anything. It feels fine. Yeah.
Do they have to open your chest for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have like a
I
normal
could show you
scar?
the scar. I mean, but
It's up to you.
it's
It's gonna be online. I mean, hey.
yeah, it's like just small scar like that.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Not too bad. Yeah.
That's not too bad. I was thinking something like that.
No.
Cool. And the original operation also requires one in the neck, but
Hmm.
they don't do that anymore. So for the battery
But
replacement.
you have to stay away from magnets, like normal magnets too, or electronic devices or something like that. Or is it a different type of magnet that you have?
Do I have to stay awake for the surgery?
No, no,
Or
no. Because you have to stay away from certain type of magnets or stuff like that.
oh no, no, no. No, it's all very simple. Y- uh, I would. It's just y- it's just a normal magnet,
Mm-hmm.
and I what I know from magnets is just keep magnets away from you know
Junk.
Mm-hmm.
electronics. That's just general knowledge.
Okay, that's what you
Don't
meant. Okay. I thought maybe like a
you know
side effect from. Okay,
you know
okay,
you got your phone here. Don't put phones near magnets. That's something else altogether.
okay,
It's just general
okay,
knowledge.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. This is a
So
lot
there
of
are no side
great
effects, right,
stories.
from the whole procedure.
Say that again.
If you have any
So there are
questions,
no
I
side
mean,
effects.
no.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, there were some. People will tell you. People will tell you that after the surgery, you get some throat irritation,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if that ever fully recovered. You could hear my throat's a little scratchy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's uh, but it did. It was a very successful operation. 6 years
Congrats on
seizure
that.
free.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
congrats on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You were free.
but I
Yeah.
mean, up until then, I was very bad with seizures. I was having 3 or 4 grand malls a week, and the myoclonics were pretty much out of control. I was
Mm-hmm.
not able to stand. I
Mm-hmm.
was waking up and just completely out of
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was in a very bad place back then. So it was
Mm-hmm.
something that needed to be done. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, we all been there.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was
man.
a good thing to be. Yeah.
What was your last job?
My last paying job, I was probably like a volunteer job. Um, yeah, yeah.
I haven't worked in, I think like 6 years, 2019.
Mm-hmm. Before
And
COVID.
every job I had a seizure. The first one was at Target. Then the next one was Krispy Kreme. And then the next one was at I forgot the name. It was different upper class restaurant. Forgot. And then FedEx. And then my family was like, "No more working for you."
Yeah, I got a lot of that.
Yeah.
They said, you can't work or else you're going to lose your insurance. That's very complicated.
Yeah,
Insurance in America is just
it is,
it's
man.
nuts. You know,
Yeah.
it's, you know.
Yeah. Have
So
you heard of somebody said, can they do ketamine as an epileptic? I don't.
Yeah. I read about it.
Yeah,
But
you can do ketamine.
no, 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 no. But I read that post. I don't know who posted it, but
Yeah, somebody that actually asked could they join. He said, "Is it safe to do recreational ketamine?" Um,
I was.
he says, "I have tonic clonic epilepsy, and I'm on lamotrigine 400 milligrams, not generic. It's GSKS. My triggers are anxiety and sleep deprivation. My mental health is shit. I think my seizures are sort of controlled. I had 2 seizures this year so far. Last year I had one. The year before that I had 2 to 3. That's cool. And then in the comments, everybody's like, nope, not safe at all. Then someone says, do not mess with your brain. It's not worth it. Of course. Someone said, I would certainly not risk it. Of course, that's a good thing. I definitely wouldn't risk it.
Uh,
Nah, I'm cool. Taking any risk. It's not fun.
I stay away from all that, since then, since I'm
Yeah,
having the...
it's not fun at all.
Do you smoke?
I don't. Yeah, I smoke weed. That helps me eat though. So
Okay.
yeah.
Did you ever had something while being high or while smoking?
No,
It? No. Okay.
I don't believe I have.
Uh,
a
I'd
little
actually
bit.
have to ask someone because I can't remember.
yeah, yeah, right.
So far, I don't think so. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna move through other posts and see what other people are talking about because some of these posts are crazy. Um, someone said, I know it's the oldest topic in the sub, but alcohol. I've been drinking since I was 15. Wow. I know it's not good, but it's normalized in my country, which is also when epilepsy started when he's 15. Although I've never had a seizure following a drinking episode, I'm not sure if I have. I might have. Until very recently, 21 years old. So that was okay, he's 21 now. Until very recently, when I had a few vodka shots at home while gaming and also kind of stayed up late. And then he quotes, I did sleep for more than 8 hours, but I guess the alcohol lowers the quality of the sleep. Okay, probably. He said, I've been off my meds since December because EEGs were clear and I stayed 2 years seizure free. So the doctor gave me the thumbs up on living off meds. This recent episode scared the shit out of me because I was home alone and hit my head during the seizure. What I want to ask you all is I've come to a conclusion. I'm better off quitting alcohol for good. But given the historic of not having seizures following drinking, would it still be okay to save it for a special occasion like a graduation? I don't know. Uh, I guess I might drink every now and then, but not like getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, taking a shot or two, then playing video games. I don't know how that happened. If I was him, a shot in the video games, it's one of them. Don't take the shot. I don't believe I've had one while drinking, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna say I'm gonna keep drinking. I don't drink like that. Um, what do you think about drinking, Kevin? What are your thoughts on
That,
drinking?
that's complicated. I would avoid it, but I used to drink. Uh, I used to binge drink like once a week, like in my 20s,
Okay,
and that was pretty bad. Like it would have bad results, but I was not like a daily drinker. But
okay. You didn't wake up with a bottle next to the bed,
yeah, yeah, but
shots in your pocket.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe
I was yeah. I would drink heavily. It was
it's okay. I don't judge you, man. We all going through
yeah.
this
I know.
unique struggle alone. Some of
Yeah,
us are dealing with it alone. Some of us aren't. Some of us are dealing with it with family and still feeling like we're dealing with it alone.
yeah.
It is what it is.
I don't drink anymore, obviously. So
Good.
you know,
Let's see what some of these comments say. Someone said, from what I can tell, it's literally like playing Russian roulette. You might be fine most of the time, but never know when that perfect storm is brewing. Trust me, it took our son almost 4 years to learn this. Endless trips to the ER, broken bones, numerous stitches, all a day or two after binging. He stopped drinking and is approaching 1 year seizure free. Nice. With the help of meds. Only you can decide if the risk is worth it. And he said, that's very insightful and needed at the moment I'm facing. Yeah. Someone also said, I just started oxycarbazine, which has ended my alcohol drinking days. I never liked that, but it made a nice thing to hold on to do with karaoke. It's like, I'm going to drink for karaoke, but nothing else. Yeah. No. Another person said, be on medication. You need to let your doctor, neuro, know about this and get back on medication ASAP. Then worry about alcohol. I have a couple now and then, and maybe once or twice a year. I have a few over much longer time period with plenty of water and food, and it has been okay for me, but we're all different. I just say don't drink. Someone else said your special occasion to drink is now to be alive. Nice. Got to keep your priorities straight and focus on getting yourself better. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I think stop drinking is like the first thing that I did, you know.
Yeah.
All these type of things, so I would stay away from like smoking weed or drinking alcohol. I was like, maybe it will get better, you know.
Is weed legal out there?
Hmm?
Is weed legal?
No, it's not legal, but it's starting to get legal. Like we have like now these gummy beers now with THC.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I've heard of those, the THC and the CBD.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, CBD is already legal, but THC is starting to get legal too. Yeah.
Okay, over here it started with having to get a medical card, and then it went to recreational.
Mm-hmm.
Now I believe you can have like 3 ounces on your person, and yeah, I don't know the rest. I know you can walk around with 3 ounces, and it won't be a problem.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like pretty much no one really cares.
Yeah,
Right?
no
Like
one cares. Everyone's like, I'm not
it,
going to get pulled over.
it's you know.
Well, if you're walking, you ain't got to worry about it. I'm going to go back to these threads and see what we can find.
Does does it count as a DUI when you're high?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only alcohol, right? Okay.
Driving under the influence is a DUI.
Yeah, I mean, but not only alcohol, so it's also weed. Weed.
Someone said, can boredom be a seizure trigger? Actually, I think it can, because I read someone else who said that he drives, but he said he only has seizures driving when he's bored on a straight road or not paying attention to something when you shouldn't be driving in the first place. But yeah, he said, stupid question. I understand that emotions can cause a seizure, i.e., stress, fear, maybe too much happiness, but I don't know anything about boredom. My personal experience, I'm 16 female, and all of my seizures have been when I'm not occupied, quiet, and obviously bored. Yeah. This goes anywhere. I'd like to add, I don't think it's environmental or anything, because when I did in EEG, I was just in a dim room and kind of left me there, LOL. And I don't, I said, oh, and I had an absence, or maybe that is environmental. I don't even know. Seizures are weird. Oh, yeah, we all thought that. Yeah, some of the comments are wild. Someone said they have nocturnal seizures. Nocturnal are the ones people have in their sleep, right?
I think, yeah.
So those are the people who need the seizure pillows. Is if you're having it in your sleep, I assume. Well, I mean, anybody could use it, but I don't think I've ever seen it or seen a picture of it. Let me see. Seizure pillow.
See now, I had seizures waking up as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
when I was asleep. That
Mm.
was that was very difficult. Like when I was waking up, and it was always a weird combination of food and I don't know. It was
Yeah.
um, uh, it's
I was
difficult to explain.
I had like absence, middle in the night. Like I woke up and then I had like a aura,
Right.
and then I couldn't sleep again. After that, I was like
Yeah.
laying for a couple of hours, middle in the night.
Mhm.
Does
It's dark.
do the seizures mess with your sleep? Because I have problems sleeping sometimes. I don't know if
Not
that's it, but sometimes it's like I'm just mind running crazy and can't sleep.
sleeping itself is no problem. Like I can sleep, but I have to sleep very much. I have to sleep a lot of. Like every time I get home, I have to take a nap.
Okay,
Otherwise,
yeah, I get those. A
yeah,
lot of people tell me they get that fatigue feeling a lot, and I
yeah,
think
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
like
never had this
constantly
before.
fatigue. And
Hmm.
then some people were like, "Why are you sleeping all day?" It's just I can't help it.
Yeah,
It comes
exactly.
with the territory.
I never had this before. Before Caesar, before the pills.
Yeah, I never had that fatigue feeling. Like it's sometimes it's hard to like get out of bed. I'd be like, I can take my pills right here, and I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's
fatigue during the
it.
day is a lot. It's like I never had to take a nap in the middle of the day. I used to be able to wake up, go to sleep at night, and now it's like take a
It's
midday nap.
normal. It's normal for me. Like when someone texts me, they already know I'm taking a nap, so I don't respond for a couple of hours because I can't. You know, when I don't take this nap, I walk like a zombie. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
they're
know what you
really
mean.
annoyed. Like,
I
I
left
still
my
try
job.
to.
I left my job one time, and they let me leave, but um yeah, the next day when I told them I had a seizure after I left work, they're like, "Oh yeah, you were looking kind of crazy when you left," and they was like, "You were looking crazy all day," and I was like, "They probably don't understand. Looking crazy is really offensive," but
Yeah,
I was like, "I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just
Right.
gonna quit." But for them to say I was looking crazy for a whole shift, like you got to do something.
yeah, right. I mean,
Something. Tell me. Ask me what's going on. Why are you looking like that?
You
Um,
gotta communicate a little with them, you know. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's not our fault. I mean, but I think
Yeah, they knew I had seizures. I've had some on the job before then, but then they were like, "Okay, we seen you looking kind of weird, looking like a zombie," and just all the terms they were using. I was like, "It's kind of funny, but it's not because they don't understand that it's not funny. It's offensive." Um,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so dealing with that and dealing with people who don't have it in their terms when they use certain stuff is like this stuff is comedy to some people, and it's not comedy at all.
In
it's like
college, I had a really big problem with myoclonic seizures. Like I would have violent jerks on half side of my body, and people thought I was just being disruptive, like picking
uh,
people's chairs, but I wasn't doing that. It was seriously, it was a disability, and I had
mhm.
to, you know, explain to people, no, I'm not trying to, mess with you. It's a disability.
Yeah, there's like some people that always tell me like my memory isn't bad. You're just playing games and you remember what you want to. Nah, man, if I could remember, I would love to remember some shit. Don't nobody want to remember and play like they forgot some shit. I want to remember everything.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
you know what I do? My photo library is like a diary. I always take pictures of when I'm somewhere, when I'm doing something. That helps me to remember it. It's
Yeah,
like a diary for me.
yeah. So I got a
I,
camera in my room, and that pretty much. I've seen a few of my seizures, but the ones on camera, I didn't really hurt myself. And if for some reason it seems like the ones that I have when I'm alone, I don't ever hurt myself. I always wake up in bad situations, but I'm not chewed up tongue and head hit on something. Cross my fingers so far. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm like, I think like I would love to see it. I want to see, I want to see how it looks like, because I don't know. It's like, because I always hear about it. They always tell me about it, but I don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I got a camera over there and it looks at my bed right here. And I watched it. And then it was like maybe like a minute. And then I was watching, I was under the blanket, and I was like, wow, I could have fucking died, yo. I could hurt myself like under the blanket. And I was like under the blanket like this because it's cold. Uh. And then I sat up and I was just like sitting there, just really confused. And I was looking at my sister and she was like, why are you looking all crazy? What's going on? Then I guess I just started screaming or something like that. And she was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, bad
but
situation.
you know what also helps me? Like, I know it maybe kind of sound funny or stupid, but when I sometimes went out these auras, and before I have an absence or anything else, like when I'm around my brothers, I told them to start a fight with me. We start like punching each other and stuff like that. So it's like you get out of the whole situation. It's like a whole nother situation, and it kind of helps me, like pulling me back. And
Yeah,
not losing my mind in this, like not getting into the deep hole.
yeah,
It helps me like getting back, and it's a, I don't know, it always helps me like when they're around. So we
yeah.
start like,
Like for some reason,
yeah.
pain brings me back. It's like when I had a seizure and I fell in the fryer. When I hit the fryer, my arm hit the fryer, I came back and then I had another seizure. Or like when I crashed, I hit the wall, the airbag brought me back. I pulled over and then I continued the seizure. So it's like
Mhm.
I'm not asking
I, I
somebody to punch me in the
don't,
face, but
when I'm alone, I start to pinch myself, like to feel a pain or to hurt myself, so that I pull my back self. But
yeah,
that doesn't help, like most of the times.
right,
Pinching myself doesn't help, but picking up a fight is always a good idea. Like, but
right. I mean, yeah, if you got somebody to bring you back like that, then yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
as long as it works, I'm fine with it.
yeah, man. Just this stuff is crazy. I'm just gonna read some more posts. Let's see what we can find. Somebody said need an epilepsy safe birth control. She said, I really want to be on some type of birth control to prevent getting pregnant. I have heard of other women with epilepsy being able to take birth control. I take Keppra twice a day. That's a problem. I take Keppra twice a day to manage my seizures. My neurologist has told me I could have the, is it Laletta IUD or copper IUD? But I would really like to avoid getting an IUD. So I've done a little of my own research, and from what I understand, I just can't take anything with estrogen. So I've been considering going to said Opil, Opil over the counter birth control pill that is progressive. This is spelled really crazy, but anyhow, a pill that is progressive only. I was wondering if anyone else with epilepsy has used this birth control or similar ones, or what my other options would be, and what are your personal experiences with birth control and epilepsy. Then there's some females in here explain their situations. 50 females. One female said she's on oh no, she's on Keppra, 500 milligrams twice daily. She said, I honestly have never been advised against any form of birth control. I have been on Keppra for 10 years, and my last seizure was a little before that. Nice. See, Keppra doesn't work for everyone, but some people, they say that it works really good. But back to her post. She said, I have to use Kylena IUD. My body doesn't mesh well with an IUD. I don't know why. I kept it in for 2 years regardless and just dealt with the cramps. But I know lots of people that would never look back on their IUD and copper IUDs seemingly good if you want to stay away from disruption of your hormones. Then, yeah.
And did you both do like a genetic test, like to see if it runs or not?
Mine wasn't genetic. Mine was from a car accident. I was ran over by a car, and then
Oh,
I believe they said I have encephalomalacia on the right side of my brain. Read another one of these females. Someone said I have a Nexplanin implant. It's just a progesterone, so no estrogen. It lasts a few years, and it should also help with regulating your cycle and managing pain. The first few months on it can be a little annoying, and you may experience some spotting, but after that, it's honestly been working very well, and you may even have no periods at all. That's a good one. I've only had a few seizures in my life, and I am still trying to get a diagnosis, so I can't guarantee it's 100% safe. I'm also not on Keppra, but on Lamictal, so I would also make sure to check if there were any problems with that. Let's see someone else. Someone else said, I have a Nexplanin implant for the first 6 months. Sucked on and off bleeding. It takes a while to level out, but overall worth it. Someone said oral contraceptive is not effective if you take anticonvulsants because they ride on the same proteins. I wouldn't risk it. Antibiotics affect because she said because, so I wouldn't tackle the chance. A diaphragm was much more effective for me. Hey. Or spermicidal lubricant. Actually haven't heard of that. You heard of spermicidal lubricant?
Yes.
I have not. That's probably why I have 6 kids.
Well, it's good to have options.
Right. Like all these different stuff for Nexplanin and IUD, and I don't know how to pronounce it because I've never heard of some of them and never had to even think about any of them. Yeah. You guys have any what's it called? Like allergies to medications?
no,
No.
not that I'm aware.
I'm allergic to Benadryl, which is actually for allergic reactions. And when I found out, it was because I didn't have seizures yet at that time, but I guess I did that and I started screaming and telling people to go outside and chase the dog, and the dog's running away and stuff. And they're like, no, the dog isn't running away. He's in the garage. So I was going through that, screaming and arguing, chase the dog. He's going away, hallucinating. Crazy. I don't remember any of them. Yeah. Crazy story to hear afterwards.
I don't think, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I don't think Benadryl is something we're supposed to take. I think we're supposed to avoid that. I think it aggravates the liver or something. Once again, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But as in reference to your allergy to Benadryl, but yeah, I don't think people with who take our medicine are supposed to take Benadryl because it's bad for our liver. That's
Yeah.
what.
We won't be doing that. What about these auras? You guys got any auras?
Often. Too often.
My auras are more like blackout moments. I just black out, then I come back and I'm like, oh, that's what that was about.
I'm always like scared to death. That's like, but you don't like your brain doesn't learn that it's like an aura, I'm always like it happened the first time, it's always like a first time for me.
Mm-hmm.
Never like, oh, okay, I'm having an aura and I'm about to be afraid and something like that. Nah, it always feels like it's the first time I'm like, okay, something bad will happen right now. I see myself like outside of my body. I see everything like really blurry, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I was here, or this already happened once, like a deja vu, you know? I hate these deja
Yeah.
vu.
Like I was
Yeah,
here already. What's going on?
I hate those, really.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Man, you said you have children? You said
Got six.
6 children.
Six.
Girls, boys?
Uh, I don't know why I started to do that. 4 girls, 2 boys. I forget sometimes. I forget birthdays, so I need to
Oh,
call
man,
somebody about a birthday right now.
there's a whole lot to deal with, right?
Yeah, there's a whole lot to remember, and then people they're mad when you don't remember. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
remind me.
But the thing is, are you afraid that you might pass on the epilepsy?
Um, I thought
That's
about that. I thought about that a lot, but I think mine wasn't genetic. Mine was because of the brain trauma. So
Mhm.
being that I have the fluid on the side of my brain, I'm not sure if they want to like take it off or something or whatever they can do, but they're not. They're just like you have it. So
Mhm. But I think like, could it be then? Could it turn into a genetic, or could you maybe still pass it on? I'm afraid of that. You know, I'm not sure. I have to talk
yeah,
to my just about it,
okay, yeah, I need to
because
figure it
I'm
out.
afraid, you know, when having a child, that he may also have it.
Yeah, so
Um.
far I've been told that it wasn't genetic for me. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping my kids don't grow up and get it. It sucks.
Mhm.
I mean, I could help them through it, but it sucks. And then I wouldn't know how much it would suck to have a child doing it. So
Mhm.
just me, I don't mind. I can deal with that, but that would suck. Um, Shout out to all the parents out there having seizures. I mean, taking care of children.
Did-
Boy.
I did look up the Benadryl thing, and it says Benadryl should be used with caution in individuals with epilepsy because it can lower the seizure threshold.
Mm.
Mm. Okay.
The part where I put the post and I asked people have they had sex? I mean, have they had seizures during sex? Someone said I think so a long time ago. She disappeared after, so there wasn't time to
Oh
confirm.
yeah, I read about that. Like leaving him alone, right?
It
Like,
said I didn't have time to confirm. I just know the
Mm.
ambulance came and got mad. She called them, but she was stuck under me, so I used to black out. That sucks. Ugh.
I read something about someone having a seizure while having sex, and the girl just dipped on him. Like
Oh
she
yeah, I
was like,
read that one. He said
"All
the
right,
girl just left.
damn, man, that's fucked up." Like, so like I don't have no time for this.
Yeah, okay. This one right here says it happened to me after I got back with my ex for a one-time thing. I didn't know that these auras were focal seizures, neither did she. So we started having sex, and the next second, I was lying on my back while she looked at me like, what the fuck? I started to cry from the embarrassment and from not knowing what the hell happened. So I just got up and left. We never spoke
Mm.
again. And I'm like, if you just get up and you never speak again after that happens, something's wrong with her. She should get in contact. That's messed up. She's like, just lets you leave
Yeah.
and never talk to you again. What? That's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Let's see another story. Someone said, yes, I had seizure during sex. And I said, okay, elaborate. And the person said, no, thank you. It was traumatic and put me off doing things for months. Uh, yeah. Someone said, yes, actually, I even made a meme about it. I wish I could paste it here, but it was basically the Dr. Doof meme. saying if I had a nickel for every time I had a seizure while having intercourse, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I had to tell my doctor, and I was kind of embarrassed about it, but thankfully she took it with a lot of grace and told me that it was most probably a coincidence. Thank God, and thank God that it didn't happen while I was still living with my highly overprotective dad and incredibly religious mother. Mm.
Mhm.
Well,
Well, let's see.
well,
Hi, Brendan.
Hey,
welcome,
Brandon.
Brandon.
Hi. How's it going, folks?
All right, hanging in there. How you been?
Another day, right?
Yeah, we got Muhammad joining now. Yeah, another day, right? Uh, just another day. We were going through posts on Reddit and just seeing stuff like some of these posts where people were saying seizures during sex, seizures while driving. You had one while driving?
Me personally?
Yeah.
So I actually have never had a license. I have driven a few times, but never had a license. So when I got diagnosed and everyone was like, "Oh, you won't be able to drive," I was sort of like, "Well, that's not really going to affect me that much." So,
Same thing I was thinking. Um, have you had a seizure during sex?
yeah, one time I was about halfway through, and then I started having a focal, and luckily the woman that I'm with, and I'm still with, is very understanding, and she just was like, "Okay, we're gonna roll you on your side. We're gonna make sure you're good, and wait it out." But yeah, zero judgment, which is I feel like something that all of us can understand is like having those moments when you're being very intimate with somebody else can be very jarring, not just for yourself but for them as well. So.
You can continue afterwards, like after having the focus.
I know
Continue.
it's like, give me an hour, babe. I swear, just give me an hour.
I'll be back.
We'll get back to it.
Mine was actually, I wouldn't say bad, but it was worse because I was sneaking in my girlfriend's house. So
Oh,
so we only got caught because she had to call the ambulance, I think. And then tried again next week. Another seizure. So it just wasn't supposed to happen.
it's those triggers, though. I mean, it's different for everyone, and sometimes it's not a trigger, sometimes it is. But there's always that one thing you're not sure about.
Yeah. What is
Although I
it?
feel like the anxiety and the stress from sneaking in would have definitely attributed to having one.
Yeah. That I think that was it. Like the stress from creeping around in the dark to get to the bedroom.
Yeah.
And listening during it. Yeah.
That'll do it.
You got the really accepting partner. Make sure it's just the best O ever or something, and not something else, That
Yeah.
was not.
Yeah. I was just reading posts like someone saying people left them afterwards and just walked out. It's crazy.
Brendan, what are you on? Like what medication?
So I'm on the generic Keppra, so levetiracetam.
Keppra. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
because we a lot of
There-
comments. Keppra is always like
sorry, can you repeat that? You were cutting in and out there.
okay. No, I said because we read about some comments and people always complain about side effects on Keppra.
So I am on Keppra mainly just because it's the one that they put me on when I first got diagnosed, and I just stuck with it. I will definitely attest to all of the comments and sort of reviews that you've heard about its side effects. The Keppra rage is a thing. And it was really hard for the until my body really got used to the meds. It was that like 6 months where I felt really bad for the people around me because I was not able to really like control myself. I would get mad for just nothing, you know.
Mhm.
And the past, I want to say year,
Hey, Mikey.
it's been fine.
Hi.
Mm-hmm. Like memory losses and stuff like that too.
Memory loss wasn't really that bad. I although I guess I can't really say if it was just from the like epilepsy finally
Mhm.
coming out versus the meds. But I have noticed that taking a B12 supplement, I don't know if any of you guys do that.
No.
Taking a B12 supplement is really good.
Yeah, I read about that on the.
Yeah, it's definitely really good to take one because it helps with brain function in general. So it helps counteract some of the side effects from meds.
Yeah, I will test it. Yeah, B12. Okay.
Yeah, and they're super cheap. I get one at the like I get a pack of it at the grocery store for like $10 and it lasts me
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months.
Right.
Do you take daily?
Yeah, it's a daily pill. I just sort of take it while I'm taking my my Capra. So
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
you're
good to
on
know.
Capra.
the generic version, yeah, levetiracetam, but same thing, you know.
Yeah. Did you get any of the Capra like rage symptoms?
Right before you joined, we were just talking about that.
Nice. Okay.
So I was saying that yes, in that first, I want to say like 6 to 8 months before my body got used to the meds, I think, and I adjusted my medication as well, the dosage. But that first like 6 to 8 months, I was getting Keppra rage here and there, and I felt bad for the people around me because yeah, it's like I'm so sorry. This is not like I'm trying to be nice. My body just needs to let this anger out, and I have no idea where it's coming from.
Oh, for sure. I think I started Kepra. I'm not on it currently, but I started Kepra when I was like 14, so like in the middle of puberty. Um, and it was just so bad. The whole just like yelling at everyone, feeling sorry for yourself all the time, and this and
Like
that. It's just the worst.
all
That's what yeah, my parents said I had a really bad rage and I had to be taken off it after like 2 months. So
Yeah, that medication is truly like a give and take. I mean,
yeah,
it makes your emotions go everywhere, but at the same time, sometimes it's really good at, keeping you kind of like stable in a way. So you really have to fight with medication and be like, well, would I rather be like happy and epileptic or angry and not epileptic?
Right.
and
Hard.
that's
yeah.
say that
It's all
taking
about what you want to risk.
it's not even saying that taking the pill, which will like possibly make you angry, is even going to stop the seizure, because
Yeah.
as we've all probably noticed, you can take your pills and still seize.
Oh, 100%. Those
Yeah.
breakthroughs are horrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get tongue tied with this. I believe it's epilepsy. I blame everything.
We all do. We all do. What meds are you guys on?
I'm on Lamictal, 200 milligrams twice daily.
Oh, damn, you're low. Okay. Well, actually, I guess I shouldn't say that because I've never had that med. I'm on 750 twice a day for Keppra, so I'm not sure like if 200 is a lot for what you're on, I guess.
The other person says they're taking 300. That's cool. I'm taking 200 twice a day. They think they want to keep switching it, but I don't like keep switching it, so I'm sticking to this.
I've weirdly found that I don't know if it's because because originally I was on 500 milligrams twice a day, but I was still seizing in the morning. So my neurologist thought that I wasn't like I didn't have enough meds in my system in the morning. So they swapped me to 750, but now I've actually found that taking one 750 in the morning and not taking one at night has actually helped keep me like uh brain function like better, like brain functionality has been better because I'm not like bogged down with the meds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's worked for me. Not for
Yeah.
Justin. Everyone.
I go through a bunch of posts, and a bunch of posts people say Kepra sucks and this and that. How long you guys have epilepsy?
7 years for me.
20 years for me.
I'm
Let's
on
hear the stories.
3 years.
Mine was, I was 5 years old. I was in a car accident. I was run over by a car. I was in the crosswalk, but there was no stop sign. And
Big shock there.
yeah, so my mom said what helped me was that she put my backpack on and then she put my jacket on over it. So in the end, I got drugged 40 car lengths, and then someone who was around, they kind of just chased her down and drove in front of her, told her I was up under the car. I was in a coma for 33 days. Yeah, it's tragic. Shattered femur, broken pelvis, or it might be the other way around. Shattered pelvis, broken femur. Yeah, and then like I was 5, so I didn't have another one until I was 16. And then when I had another one when I was 16, I eventually had 2 in web design class. So they thought it was the computers. Went back to class, it happened again, and they diagnosed me with epilepsy. And yeah, they said I have encephalomalacia on the right side of my head, which is from trauma. It's like
the other guy can go. Yeah.
What's an AVM?
I don't know. What's an AVM? I've heard of that. Blood vessels in the brain messed up. Yeah, like me a little bit.
Yeah,
I just have like a patch, a little spot. They said the liquid's there. I don't know if they want to take it off. It's when your arteries go into veins. What? Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Straight away rather than. Oh man. I'm sorry you're going through that, man.
Yeah, mine is actually I have like tumors in my on my brain, but they're not bad tumors. What's it called in English? Like there are those
benign.
Yeah, exactly. Benign, yeah.
Yeah.
And they cause like I don't know, it's like what is it called when it pushes against the brain, like
Pressure.
Yeah, exactly, like a pressure. Yeah. And those cause these seizures. And it developed at age 21, like it just developed, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember your story, Kevin. What was yours?
Diagnosed at 12. Let me see. As of like Sunday, that'll be 27 years. So, or 26 and a half years. Let me think. I think it's just temporal lobe epilepsy. I think it's called juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. Grand mal. I think I don't remember the full diagnosis, but it was just a couple of days after Christmas, and I was playing a video game, all hopped up on sugar and stuff, and had a seizure. So that was nothing too fancy. Just so, yeah, right. Your standard grandma. Yeah.
Has anybody had a focal where they black out and just like miss a few minutes?
I think so.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, I think so.
Yeah,
I wouldn't remember.
I
It's
had
a catch-22. How do you know, right? Yeah.
One of my most recent focals was I was pouring a cup of juice. It might have been water. I couldn't exactly remember. but I guess I blanked out. And when I came to, it was just juice all over the counter. It was overflowing. And I was like, wow. And then I had another one. It was at the train station, and I kind of stepped back from the platform um, so the train could come, and blacked out. When I came to, I was taking a selfie, and the train was pulling off. Yeah.
Do you
I have a
have the?
funny story. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask if you had the selfie still. Like, did you actually take the picture?
I don't think I was actually taking one. I was probably sitting there like this, and people were like, "Why is he doing that? Train's here." Yeah, man.
Mine was just my epilepsy was just genetic. My dad has the same kind of epilepsy that I do, and I'm pretty sure it's the same as what Kevin was talking, like just temporal lobe, epilepsy, and it started when I was 26, which when I started looking it up, I heard a bunch of people, or I read a bunch of people saying that 26 is a really common age for epilepsy starting. I don't know how factual that is, but there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, 26. That's when I like for me too. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
How old are you guys?
I'm 35.
I'm
35.
29.
Okay, so I'm 28, about
Yeah.
to turn 29, yeah, and 18 more couple. Yeah.
18. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I'm glad
I
I
was
didn't.
going through focals, and I was going through focals where I was blacking out and just like coming back. And I've been doing this for like 10 years, and I just never understood what it was. So I never said anything. Um, I thought it was just bad memory. Then I had like these clammy feeling where I get clammy and get a headache and metallic taste in my mouth. And yeah.
I have a funny story. I was with a friend and we both went to the bathroom and he was in the stall, and I was waiting, and somehow it kicked in. Like I walked through the door and suddenly it kicked in this focal unaware seizure. And my friend told me like, yeah, you went in and suddenly you came to me like really close. I was like, man, do you want to see my dick or what? I was like really close to him, and I was talking in my mother language in Turkish. And this happens every time when I have a seizure. I only talk in my mother tongue.
Mhm.
And it was like, I don't understand shit, man. What I talk? Why are you so close to me? What are you talking about? Like, and then after I came back, he told me this, and I had to laugh about it. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, when I was thinking about how he talked about his mother language, I was just thinking like that's what he knows when it happens. So mine, what I knew one time is I knew to go home, but I went to my hometown. I left work. I went 17 miles home, I mean to my hometown, instead of going 4 miles the other direction to where I'm actually living. Yeah, so when I got off the bus, I was like, where am I? Then I was like, oh, I'm in my hometown. What's going on? So I took 3 buses and a train. 3 buses and a train before I noticed this is really going on. So I was like, okay, let me get to somebody's house that I know. So I tried to get somewhere. I crossed the
Funny,
street.
like,
When I
that's
crossed
a
the
funny.
street, I passed out in the post office parking lot. And luckily, someone that knew me pulled over, but he actually didn't. He didn't pull over because he knew me. He said he pulled over because he thought it was someone else, but then he ended up knowing me. So yeah, he went and got my family, and yeah.
But that's the thing, because you see your brain still worked normal. Like you still took the bus, you still took the train,
Yeah, it's telling
but
me
you were,
go home.
yeah.
And I'm sure
Like,
that everyone that was like around you probably didn't even realize that you were having a seizure because you were like he was saying, your brain still operates. You're just not there for it.
Right, yeah. Or another funny story was I walked into a rehab down the street from my house, and I told everybody, "Get the fuck out of here! This is my house. What are you doing here?" Um, Luckily, they had seen the ambulance pick me up a few times down the street. You know, ambulance comes so many times, people start coming outside to see what's going on. Luckily, there was a guy. He was like, "Oh, that's a guy from down there. I know so and so," and he went and got my family. Yeah,
I
that could have been really bad. That could have went horrible.
I had a seizure. So I look one of my funny story seizures is I was at my girlfriend's house, and this was the first time that I had a grand mal in front of her, and I remember waking up before her, and I was kind of just like hanging out watching TV, and then when you feel it coming on, and you know it's gonna happen, so I like made my way back to the bed so I could lay down. Um, and I woke up, I think it must have been a half an hour later, and she said that I was insistent about trying on one of her like night dresses, you know?
Yeah,
And she was like, "You really wanted to try it on. And you really wanted to wear it, and then you got it on after I told you no, but you got it on, and then you went, 'This fits horribly,' as I'm standing there Winnie the Poohing, with my dick out." And she was like, "Okay, let's get that off and let's get you back to bed." But then I woke up and I had no idea what had happened, obviously. But oh my god, that was hilarious for her, like after the fact. Obviously,
right.
once she realized I was okay, it was funny, but during it, it's terrifying for everybody who's around us. So
Yeah. After one of mine, I was insisting that. Huh. Been there. Like, get out of my way. Get all agitated. Tell them I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
I know what I
Been
need to
there.
do.
It wasn't a Kepra rage, though. I don't think. Like everyone says that. I haven't been through that, luckily. Do you guys get like the clammy hot flash feeling?
Oh yeah, definitely the hot flash for me.
Yeah, I didn't understand that for a while. I just took it as like, um, maybe it's telling me sit down. Maybe this means I shouldn't be standing here. Maybe I should go lay down. So that's what I would always do when I got it. And then I found out it's actually a seizure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always have this lip smacking before it happens.
Mm.
It's,
Oh, like dry mouth, like
yeah, exactly. They always tell me, "Oh yeah, you did this lip smacking, so I think you had a seizure or something like that."
weird. I never would have connected those two, but
No, because I told them about it. I told them about that, so they knew already. And
oh,
they say every time when you have this lip smacking, so they already know when I start to smack my lips, they know, okay, he's already.
it's actually pretty helpful, I will say. I mean,
I
Yeah.
knew someone who like laughs, like ridiculously laughs, like they can't help it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then we're like, okay, let's keep an eye because this might happen.
Yeah. Always, I'm like, oh, really? I did that? Like, I don't remember anything. Like, I'm just sitting here. What they're talking about? Like,
Right.
yeah.
Man.
Kevin,
What's the
do you have?
longest you went without one? What's the
What's
longest
that?
you went without a seizure?
The longest I've gone is probably this streak, the 6 year streak.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
I'm
mean,
I'm on my longest right now. I'm about to come up on. I'm at 5 months now, so middle of next month I'll be at 6 months seizure free. So I can go get a license if I want to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had one on January 15th, and I don't think I told that story yet since you've been here, Brandon. But I almost made it to 3 months, and I had one on April 11th. I was 4 days away from another month without it.
Another month. Yeah.
And yeah. So then the one in January, I don't think I told you about that, Brandon. I walked in someone's house.
No, I didn't hear that story. No.
So I had a seizure. I lived on the fourth floor, and when I came to, I was sitting on the floor with no shoes on in the hallway on the second floor. There was a guy that passed by me. we'll read that in 1 second. There was a guy that passed by me, and I kind of didn't know who he was, but I guess I noticed him before once upon a time, and he noticed me. But he kept walking, and he kept looking back because I'm still following him. And he kept looking back, and then he stops at his door, and then I'm stopped next to him. He unlocks the door, he opens it, and I walk right in. Sat down, and he was just like, what are you doing? And I was like, I know someone here.
Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, so eventually I left, went back the next day, and I apologized to him because I think I remembered him from somewhere, but I was just like, my bad, I'm going through this, and this is what happened.
As long as they're understanding, and it allows, more knowledge to be spread about the condition that we all have, where it's like, if you see someone doing something odd, it's not just because they're a fucking drug addict or something,
Right.
which is what sometimes happens with, when police respond to somebody having a seizure, they just assume that you're ODing or something, and that's not fair to people who are actually
going through
it. Yeah.
So Mocha asks, how long do you need to have? Do you need to go without a seizure to drive? In California, it's 2 years.
I think in Rhode Island, where I'm at, I think it's only 6 months. But yeah, it really does vary state to state. Some states don't even like care, and they won't even take your license away. But obviously, those are probably states that wouldn't like have the best healthcare options for people with our condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I just said, I'm in Europe, and I think it's generally in Europe, it's 1 year, like in every country.
Yeah.
In the yeah, it's 1 year.
Yeah, and what is it? In Oregon was somebody told me 2 to 3 months. I was like, that's insane. Like I could go there and get my license and come back, basically.
Right? That seems way too short. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was someone that told me their seizures are under control, and I was like, what's considered under control? Because I've heard some people say under control, and they still have them.
That one day comes around. We all have that one day.
One day comes around, and you lose control.
Yeah, that happened to me. I thought they were under control for a while. Then my last seizure broke my foot. I'm not 100% sure it was a seizure, or I lost consciousness or something. I'm not sure 100% what it was, but broke my foot somehow. That's all I know.
Yeah, mine.
Like I was coming down the stairs, and I just woke up with a broken foot. So
Wow.
How long did that take to heal?
Completely.
Man, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It takes a long time.
Yeah. So I was gonna go back to this post where I said, "What's your definition of my seizures are under control?" And someone said, I told them that someone told me that they haven't had a seizure in 8 years, but they have focals all the time. And then someone said, that's not under control. If you're still having focals, my neurologist says it has to be completely zero. Hope this helps.
I think I saw that same post. Yeah.
Someone said, takes like in half an hour to explain what my seizures are like. I have focal seizures and are not visible to people who don't know me. If it's someone I'll never see again, I sometimes say they're controlled and change the subject rather than saying, well, I haven't had a tonic-clonic, which are a bit like seizures you see in movies since 2014. But my neighbor had heard of epilepsy or seizure. The explanation he got was, it means I just can't drive. That's not under control. Then someone else said, for me, that is considered under control. My epilepsy is refractory, and I will always have multiple weekly focals, seizures, despite all the treatments and precautions taken. I think that definition has to vary upon individuals because every person diagnosis is different. Right. Someone
Yes.
said 3 years, no TCs. Then I had 4 or 5 within 5 months. I'm on Keppra max dose, Topamax, clobazam, clobazamine, or yeah, CLOBAZAM. Some of these medication names are hard.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Clobazam.
Yeah. Then he said, God, I wish I only had 1 a month. That's awesome. Surgery is my last option as well. It really is person to person. Yeah.
I
How's
take
your
that
memory?
one.
How's your
Clobazam.
short-term memory? Do you guys think it's the pills? I think it's the pills.
For me, my short term was really being hindered by the pills. That's why I'm glad that I started experimenting a little bit with my dosage. And also adding in the B12, like I mentioned earlier, like it's really helped me with the short term. Long term, I do tend to still forget stuff, but I don't know if that's because of the seizures, just like, or because as you grow older you just forget stuff. I don't know, not to say I'm old, no.
Anyhow, you're not old. We're just human.
But I definitely like have moments where I'm like, my boss will look at me and be like, remember the thing that I told you a few days ago? I'm like, I fully have no idea what you're talking about. So that's what happens. Yeah.
I think it's really different, because when it developed and I started having focus, that's the moment when I had these memory losses and this bad memory. And
Yeah,
then
that's what they're doing.
2-3
Yeah.
years I got all the pills and stuff. So I don't know if it's really the pills or if it's the seizures itself, because it started with the seizures, the memory loss. But
I believe
like,
mine started with the pills because sometimes it just gets worse and worse. I don't know, but I think it's the pills. I'll blame the pills for now.
no, I have to take pills every 12 hours, like
Me too.
always.
Every 12 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like I always keep a dose with me whenever I go somewhere, because I don't know if I make it home in time.
Yeah, I keep a just in case bottle, just in case I don't make it back.
Where's mine? Oh yeah, little film case that I have a couple pills in.
I just have a couple bottles sitting around. I just take a bottle every now and then.
But as soon as I miss one dose, I have a focal in the same day.
Yeah.
So I really live from dose to dose, dosage to dosage, like.
Which is really a frustrating thing, for you in your life, thinking about it. It's a 12. You're literally thinking about your life as a 12-hour to 12-hour,
Right.
situation. So.
Because I think like finally I'm free, and then I forget to take one dosage and I start having seizures, and then I'm like, good, I only live from dose to dose, yeah. But,
yeah.
This is so fucked up.
Does like, I wouldn't say trauma, but does like pain bring you back when you have a seizure? Because you weren't here when we talked about it earlier, Brandon. But
Yeah.
Mine, when I had a seizure when I was driving, I was turning onto the freeway where there's a bridge ahead. Luckily, I hit the wall. Well, not luckily, hit the wall. I didn't make it to the bridge, luckily. I scraped against the wall, and then the airbag hit me, and I came back too. I pulled over, then I had another one. And then there was another one when I was at work, and I fell in the air fryer. And when I hit the air fryer, I came back too.
Yep.
And I looked at it, and then I had another seizure. And then Mo says he fights with his brother. It's like, brother, fight me, bring me back.
I swear, like my brother, like when I have this aura, I tell him, hey, come punch me. We have to fight. To change the whole situation. It's like it pulls me back, from the aura. So we are punching each other, and then I'm like, thank you, I'm fine. And then I sit back. Thanks.
It's like somebody's like, snap out of it.
Kevin, does that work the same for you as well? Has that ever happened? It's never happened for me, so I'll get to my explanation. I just want to let you talk as well.
You mean, do I associate pain with seizures at all, or is that what
Or, well, the topic, I
I think
guess, is
I definitely do. But
well, no, does pain like ever bring you out of a seizure?
no, I would go the opposite way. I think I have to limit my stimulation um with the R's because I although I am seizure free right now, I was discussing earlier, I was in this market uh yesterday actually. Yeah, Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia. It's a really popular eatery and it's extremely crowded and there's no air and a lot of stimulation and I felt dizzy and I just it's not an aura necessarily, but it definitely is reminiscent of that. And I felt like I was gonna pass out. And so I had to get out of that scenery. And um I just it's all coming back to reducing stimulation and getting rid of light and sound and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for me it's if I feel like, so for example, I'm sitting on the couch right now, if I'm watching TV or something and I feel like a seizure is going to come on, I would generally try and lay down, if I'm not already sitting on the couch, because obviously this is a comfortable place. But I have found that if I stand up and I do just like kind of a lap or two around my kitchen, it kind of focuses my brain. So I think when you guys were saying that pain brings you out, I think for me it's less the pain, it's more just a separate stimulation that is separate from like what's going on in my brain. So like movement, will help.
Right.
But I've never been in a situation where I like, hurt myself and then that brought me back. I've only ever hurt myself like if I was actually passing out, falling over, going into a TC. But obviously at that point you're a little too late.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who said he only has focals, so he does drive. And he's like, I had a focal while driving, but they didn't take my license. He said what happened was he had a focal and he was like, I mostly get focals when I'm bored. He was like, so if I'm driving on a straight road, he was like, you get kind of bored if you don't have music on or something. And he was like, then I'll have a focal. And he was like, but I can go 80 around a bend. He said, and I'm excited about it, so I don't have one. And I was
Hmm.
like, he was like, as long as I stay interested, my mind busy, then I don't have it.
I see where that guy's mind is coming from because like I was saying, it's a separate stimulation that like takes over. Um, but I do not agree with using a car as as your like method of transportation if you're having focals while driving.
Right.
I personally, you know, use a bike to get everywhere, so I know that even if I have a seizure, I'm not going to hurt anybody else. I would be the only one who would get hurt, So
Right.
that's just my personal opinion, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see because maybe his trigger just isn't like that visual sort of thing driving down the road. Um like for everyone's trigger is different, so
Yeah.
maybe that I don't know. Once again, driving can be that's dangerous, but maybe that just doesn't trigger him as much. That but you know visuals that is something for me. And heat and lack of air is those are all things for me. It's
Yeah.
and caffeine, but it's different for everyone. So
Caffeine is always a tricky one. I feel like for for most of us, right? Like, how are you guys on caffeine?
No problem.
No problem.
So
I tried to
You're from
stop with
Turkey.
caffeine, so I'll drink Fanta, no caffeine, caffeine-free sodas, teas that aren't named after colors.
oof.
Yeah,
So
teas that aren't named after colors are the ones that don't have caffeine. All green tea, black tea, those caffeine.
Yeah, it's true.
The black tea is like normal, it's the fast, like water. That's why.
What I think it was my like fourth or fifth seizure. I was at the coffee shop drinking my normal order, which is just 4 shots of espresso over ice, which, because why don't you drink all that caffeine in the morning? And he
yeah,
understands. And I woke up to the EMTs uh, like standing over me. And apparently, well, so I actually got caught falling backwards off the bar stool by another guy who has epilepsy. This guy, Nate, who I've now become very good friends with. He lives close to me. And I gave him, in my postical state, I gave him my mom's phone number. So he called my mom to then meet me at the hospital. And so I was super surprised when she showed up. I was like, "How'd you know I was here?" And she was like, "Because you gave your number to a guy who called me." But he actually has a crazy story where he had a seizure while he was driving and he slammed into a police car, went through his windshield and slammed, like, and his body slammed into the police car. um and he has scars like all over his face and his chest and stuff, but he's got kids, he's happy, he's pretty seizure free. And yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some. Well, I've had some funny stories, but another one with the memory thing that messes me up. Like, I wouldn't say it's a focal because I was going to the mailbox, and I went through the terrace because I'm in an apartment. I went through the lobby, went out the front door of the building, walked right past the mailboxes. I didn't notice until I got to the street. Then I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to go check the mail." So I turned around, walked right past the mailbox again, went home. Then I got home like, oh, forgot about the mail again. Then I was like, I'll go get that later. I'm not gonna keep doing this.
Yeah,
I'm
at
not
that
gonna
point
keep going through this.
you've already done the stairs enough. Like, you got your cardio in for the day.
Right. And then just reading all these stories about people driving on the post that I had. I was gonna read some more of those out loud because there's 195 comments. Someone said 12 years ago, I had a seizure and crashed into a ditch. Luckily, one of my family friends found me and called my parents at the time. At the time, they told me it was a heart attack condition and it could happen while driving. Luckily, it just messed up my back and they were able to diagnose me. Been on Keppra ever since and seizure free for 12 years. Wow. Wow.
Solid.
Right. Then let's see. Someone said, I knew I needed to pull over, so I started looking for a spot. I was alone on a small highway in the middle of nowhere, and I should have just put it in park and threw on the hazard. However, I did not and went off the road and apparently airborne for a minute. I broke my tailbone, neck, and cracked sternum. The neck was a lot. It was a rarer break between levels C1 and C2. I'm really lucky I'm not dead or paralyzed. I'm glad you were fine. And yeah, he's talking about my story where I said I was fine and Santa Claus was there. Yeah, when I hit the wall with my car accident, there was a guy who just left the hospital. He was a doctor, and he actually was in a Santa suit. So when I hit the wall, he had flew past us. So he stopped on the side of the road. And once I got out and I was on the ground inside the road, he's running towards us. So yeah, he ran towards us in his Santa suit, and I was confused, like, "Hey, it's Christmas, huh?"
You were confused as literally everyone would be in that situation.
I would think so. Yeah.
If you aren't, I think you need to get your head checked, like, again.
Yeah, it was funny. It was very funny.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh, man. Someone said you shouldn't be driving, possibly putting yourself and others at harm, right? But says, oh, this person says they do have seizures. Says, I won't drive until I'm 2 years free. It's extremely irritating and don't like public transit, but it's safer. You guys don't care about yourselves, obviously. Well, hey, I do.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not talking to the four of us, right? Because like none of us drive.
Yeah, I made the post. I made the
Yeah.
post about driving with seizures, and they were like, "Yeah, haven't been through this, but you
My
guys
whole
are dumb,
job is
basically."
my whole job is teaching people how to ride bikes. Like I'm just trying to get people on bikes.
Okay, then there's another one said, "Yeah, many years ago, I blacked out and coasted right past my house, up the hill, and into a telephone pole. If not for the telephone pole, I would have been in someone's living room. I likely wasn't going very fast because I was going up a hill, would probably save me. Car totaled, and I was a little sore." Some of these stories are like, man, I'm glad that you made it through, because some of these stories are crazy. They're far out.
Mm.
Um,
Like your brain is already experiencing trauma when you have a seizure, and then add to it like body trauma as well.
yeah. Another one. Guy said, I got lucky. I started a focal when driving to work one morning. Missed my exit. Kind of remember that part. Last thing I remember for like an hour-ish. Got to work, apparently started going through mine and other people's work trucks. I'm a plumber. Boss asking me what the F I'm doing, apparently screaming. I'm looking for my keys, etc. They were in my hand. LOL. I was told all of this by others. By the way, I wasn't really conscious. Well, of course, I understand that.
Yeah.
And said, either way, after an hour of that, my girlfriend picked me up and I snapped out of it by then. But still in and out of it at the time. Wild day, lucky to be alive. Also, had a grandma while in the passenger seat, could have been the driver. Yeah. Someone also said I had one on Christmas, but luckily I was in the driver's seat and it was right before I pulled off.
Driving's dangerous enough as it is sometimes.
Right.
Adding in all this. Fuck.
Oh, okay. We got a female. She said, I was going to pick up my then boyfriend, now husband, up from work. He was a bartender then, and he was closing. So it was pretty late. I had fallen asleep on the couch, but I had an alarm set to remind me to get him. I wake up, put my shoes on, get in the car. Thankfully, his work was only a few miles away from our apartment. And since it was so late, the roads were empty. I was about to pull into the complex where the bar was located when I had a TC seizure. I don't remember it at all, but I ran off the road narrowly, missing a telephone pole and ended up in a ditch. I guess I called my boyfriend posticle, although I don't remember that either. And he was able to figure out where I was since I had crashed pretty close to the bar. He was able to run to me and call the police and ambulance. I was really lucky and only had superficial cuts, bruises. Crazy thing is, multiple people drove past me leaving the bar, but nobody stopped to help or check me. Just for clarity, this was a breakthrough seizure. I had been seizure free for multiple years prior to this, and I was cleared by my hepatologist to drive. I haven't driven since and will likely never drive again. Thank you. I could have been on that road. Yeah. Ooh, another one. Someone said I had an accident about 25 years ago. I was at a junction pulling off, and the opposite was a field where kids were playing. I went straight on it. Luckily, I realized what I was going on at the last moment, and luckily, a tree was there, and I swung the car straight into it. No one was harmed, and I'd only had my car and license back for 3 weeks. 1,000 euro-pounds of damage, and the remorse every day of walking by it. I
Tough
have
choice you
never
have
been
to make.
back.
I mean, getting back into the real world, it's a very difficult decision. I mean, for not recovering, what's the word? A person with a person controlling this condition. But we do have to live our lives, and
Right.
yeah,
But putting other people at risk, I don't want to do that. I always look at the wall I crashed into when I pass by it. There's
yeah,
always that scrape right there.
yeah. I mean, none of us, yeah, obviously none of us are driving. That's our choice, but uh, there's many people who are not so fortunate to have uh, public transit or anything. I mean, so um,
Basically,
yeah,
everyone in the Midwest who has epilepsy is like, how am I going to get anywhere?
Right.
How's the public transit in Turkey, Mo?
No, I'm not in Turkey. I am originally from Turkey.
Yeah, I know because you were saying that it's your mother tongue, so I figured that you weren't there
You know,
anymore. But
I live in Austria, in Vienna,
oh,
and it's connected. Like, I don't know if there's anywhere that was better connected than in Austria. You know, it's like you can get everywhere in like 20 minutes.
you're just being mean
So,
now. Thanks for being
so,
mean.
like having a car is a stupid decision in Vienna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. Yeah, so I'm really fortunate. I'm really lucky that's
Right.
because but I love driving, but I can't anymore. So
Oh man, we all love it.
yeah, but what is whatever. Like at least I have these
I
public
love
transport.
having to not ask people to take me places.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
a stupid thing that I did was skiing. While
Jeez.
skiing, yeah, this could end really. This could end deadly if you fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
road.
I want to do some stuff. I want to prove that we can do some stuff that
Yeah,
they
but
say we
after
can't
I
do.
did, I was like, man, are you stupid? Why are you going skiing?
I
Because
want to
everyone.
skydive.
Just about to say, let's all go skydiving.
I want to skydive. Like I want to show people that we can do this shit. There's so much. They're just like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But it's like,
Epilepsy.
what if this happens? So I hope it isn't just that time that what if happens. Because yeah, there's a lot that people just don't do because they're told like, don't even go near a pool just because they say don't swim. Pool in the backyard though, you know. Yeah, man. Any funny stories? Like having seizures in public, where you came to and maybe ran away. I left the hospital one time, and the police actually made it to my house before I did. So then, once I got there, my parents were like, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing?" I got the gauze on my arm because I did it myself. Pulled the IV out, and it was just. I was like, they make it look so easy, but it didn't work for me. I put the gauze on. The gauze was like really red, and I walked like an hour and a half home. So, yeah.
Damn, but your seizure lasted for that long? Or
No,
did you wake up like halfway through?
no, I was at the hospital, and
Oh, and that was just when you came out of it. Okay.
yeah, when I came out of it, I was like, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, don't hold me back. It was like, well, I'm not seizing now, and you guys are just trying to keep me here. So, hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
Talking about crazy seizure stories.
Oh, fun.
Right, you got any stories?
Well, yeah, so I had a brain abscess and I was supposed to be at work, and I wasn't feeling good. And I told my boss, you know what, I'm not feeling good. And good thing I didn't, because it was like an hour and a half drive to get to work. I was almost done with work and fell to the floor, had a seizure. I woke up to my wife, all upset. She's like, "You okay? You okay?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I must have fell asleep." And I went to go back to work, and my wife's like, "No, you had a seizure." I'm like, "Whatever, I did not." So she got my son and started pulling on me to get to the car. She was going to take me to the ER. So I said, "Okay, hold on. Let me go tell my boss I'm not done." she's like, no, you got to go to the hospital now. And when I got to the hospital, I don't remember anything until I was in the ER, and they did a quick CAT scan, and the guy who did the CAT scan says, "Oh yeah, look, you had a seizure, you're all entitled to one," and just dismissed me. I'm like, "Oh, didn't know it works like that."
What are you
So
taking?
fast forward. What's that?
What are you taking?
Oh, so I was taking Keppra. That made me super manic, where I was up for 23 hours a day and just talk, 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 talk. So they switched me over to lacosamide.
I haven't heard that one, but I'm on 200 milligrams of Lamictal twice daily.
And how's that?
Oh, it's better than Keppra did for me. Keppra, I was on Dilantin at first, and Dilantin it was like 10 to 12 a year, maybe more than that. And then after 4 years, I went to Keppra. Did Keppra for 3 years, and it didn't really work. I was having like two a month, and I was like, doesn't exactly work for me. Um, then I went to Lamictal, lamotrigine, and it's all right. I have like 5 a year. They're spread out, so I wouldn't say they're under control, but they're more spread out. It's less than it was with other ones. The other one
Right,
wasn't
right.
working. But I'm just now finding out what other seizures are because for a while I was thought I knew everything, but I knew nothing about epilepsy. Doctors would ask me, ambulance would ask me, what kind of seizure did you have? And I'd be like, the one where you shake.
Right, right.
I learned that I have myoclonic, TC, um, yeah, and what's the other one called? Focal.
Vocal, okay.
Yeah, I got some crazy focal stories if you want to hear.
Yeah, that
One was
sounds fun.
at a train station. Seen the train coming, backed up so I don't get hit. Came to.
Smart.
When I came to, I was like this, taking a selfie. Train was driving off. That was it. I laughed, but I can't imagine just
Right,
people just sitting there looking at me, just looking
right, right,
like you see something, say something.
right.
But yeah, I've walked into people's houses, told them get out. It's my house. I walked in a rehab
Oh,
and told
wow.
everybody get the fuck out of here. It's my house.
Wow.
Luckily, they knew someone that I lived with, and yeah, I'm here to tell the story. Um, you have bad memory because I have horrible memory.
Yeah, so I used to have a really excellent memory, and that went out the window. So everybody that I know, when they say, "Oh, you remember blah," I'm like, "No, no, I
Mm-mm.
don't," and they're not used to that.
Right. My memory is so bad that some people don't even believe me. Some people started telling me, "Oh no, you're just telling us that. You just don't want to believe what you want to believe." I'd be like, "Hey, if I could remember, I would. I would like to remember." So know
How many
that.
how many times have you had people come up to you and like fully shake your hand and know your name, and you're like, "Oh fuck, I have no
Oh,
idea who you are." Like,
I've done that. I've done
I
that. I've had someone pull over and like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'd be like, and
uh,
she's like, "Do you know me?" And I was like, "Your face is kind of similar, but I don't know your name or the voice." And then she tells me, and then I'm like,
I
"Oh, okay."
but
Still don't
and
remember because I'm like,
but
"Oh,
yeah,
okay."
exactly. You're like, okay, cool. Knowing the name still doesn't help me remember the first time I met you. I That interaction still is not here.
Yeah. She's like,
This
"Oh, I
is
remember you had a seizure down the street, and a lot of us were outside." And yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you should know. I don't remember you or your name."
because this is a situation that's happened to me before. I just go along with the conversation, like
Yeah,
I
try to
have to.
improv. Yeah, like,
play it off. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, whatever. I just go
Yeah,
along with the conversation.
Right.
It's just ridiculous at a certain point. I
Yeah.
know it's
yeah.
not healthy, but to do that, but okay, I'll pretend I know you.
Rick,
Right.
do you think it's the pills?
Um, so that's hard to say because I was off pills for a bit and my memory did not improve. So I started a new job and I started meeting people, and then a few weeks later they come by and they start talking to me like they know me and they're like, "Oh, how do you like the area?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess we met." So what I do is I just carry around a notepad and I just tell people like, sorry, do have epilepsy and my memory is shot, so I'm gonna write your name down.
Right. You ever had any at work?
Yes, I was walking back to my desk and all of a sudden I felt like I was having a hot flash and I'm like, oh no, don't do it here, don't do
I
it here. I'm
hate
like, huh?
those.
So I found a chair nearby, sat at somebody's desk, and I don't remember what exactly happened, but I do remember like as I was going into it, everything sounded like really muffled but loud.
Hmm.
And I felt like I was sweating, felt my heart rate going up, and then like I blanked out, and next thing I know, there's like three people and said standing next to me, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Now I am." And I got up and walked away.
Oh
You
wow.
guys ever I forgot what I was gonna say. What about the night sweats? Anybody get that? I get night sweats. Sometimes it's worse than others, but yeah.
Sometimes, I think, but when I was on the Kepra, definitely.
I'm on Kepra, and I was just about to say, like, I feel like I've gotten more night sweats than I did like before I got or before I had epilepsy before I started my meds. Um, so yeah, I think Kepra definitely is like something that adds to the night sweats for some reason.
Hmm. Hey Rick, you ever had any during sex?
Actually, yes.
So have we.
My man.
Yep. 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 That's why I said, call me James Bond. I'm shaken, not stirred.
Man, I had two, and I think they were just situations where they shouldn't have happened because I was sneaking in my girlfriend's house, and yeah, shouldn't have happened. Then I did it again, like a week later. Seizure again, shouldn't have happened. I guess they only found out because she had to call the ambulance. So hey,
Oh, whoops.
right?
Is she put that thing back?
Yeah.
Rick, since you're on Kepra, like, did you already mention the Kepra rage? Did you ever like experience any of that?
So yes, but my neurologist thought it was more from the recovery from having brain surgery. And I didn't stay on it that long because I was so manic where I was just, like I
Right.
was awake 23 hours a day and I was talking so fast. And
Yeah.
I would, in the middle of a conversation, I would start a second one, then I would start a third one, and go back to, I was confusing everybody. And they lowered my dosage. That didn't help. So they said, okay, we're taking you off of that and put me
Yeah.
on lacosamide. And then I was off lacosamide for a bit because my neurologist thought, well, you got rid of the abscess, so let's see if you have a seizure after that. And I made it almost a year and had one. The ER put me on Depakote, and that medicine made me super tired, muscle fatigue, muscle aches. And I said, can you put me back on lacosamide? And then I've been on that now, and it's been
Oh,
much
okay.
better.
So you've got experience with like several different ones
Yeah,
you can sort of attest to how they affected you at least. Obviously different
right.
for different people, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot what I was gonna say. Anyhow, let's move to something else. You ever had one driving, Rick?
No, fortunately not while
Good.
driving.
Good for you, because I have. Yeah. But I'm gonna go to this thread where I asked people that, and someone said I had a seizure August 31st, 2024. I had been seizure free for about 2 years. I missed one dose of the meds because the pharmacy was out. Instead of turning, I kept going straight because I was seizing. I drove through the median, through a fence, and hit a tree. I live in eastern North Carolina, so it's very rural. My phone, SOS called 911, and I woke up to a ton of ambulances. They took me to a military hospital because it was the closest. I ended up having 2 more seizures that night and stopped breathing and turned gray. I've only had 1 seizure since then because I was sick. Needless to say, I won't be driving again. Good, good, good. Yeah. It's crazy stories. I had one time where I stopped breathing and I turned purple. And since the city where I'm from doesn't have a helicopter pad, a landing pad, I guess, they picked me up from a school, the field.
Oh wow.
I had one at a school one time. So my job, I work with fifth graders, so like 10, 11 years old, and one of mine was in the middle of one of their classes. So the next day, a kid who was not in my class walked up to me and went, "Are you the guy who had a seizure?" Uh, to which I had to be like, "Yes, yes, that was me. Sorry." But I I do hope that, me having one in their school at least made the kids go, "What was that? What is this condition?"
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
why I'm kind of doing this epilepsy
Yeah,
awareness.
exactly. It's like, even though it was probably traumatizing, it was at least, a little bit of a lesson in terms of like, this is life, folks. Some
Yeah,
people have conditions.
Right,
I
right.
mean,
yeah.
kids are
Have you
pretty
guys ever
strong. I
seen one of
think.
yours on camera?
Oh, sorry, there was a couple voices. What'd you say?
Oh,
You ever seen a seizure that you had on camera?
No, I honestly don't know if I want to see it, but like, how do you guys feel about that? Because like, I feel like I want to see it, but
Camera over
also,
there.
huh?
Camera over there. In my bedroom, I got a camera
Oh,
over there.
oh, I was
Okay.
like, what are you pointing at?
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was pointed at me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a camera over there. I've seen 2.
Was it scary for you?
Uh, when I seen it, I was like, wow. I was like, I could fucking kill myself because I was like wrapped up in the blanket. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that looks crazy. And it was like 30 to 40 seconds. And I was in a room alone. And when I sat up, I looked out the door straight into my sister's room. And she's like looking at me and she's like, why are you looking stupid? And I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
I'm not
Then she
stupid.
came in and then I started screaming and she's like, oh, that's what's going on. I get it.
Well, as
Yeah.
I to be honest, I always hear about it, but I would like to see, how it looks like, because I hear it years for years, and I just can't imagine how it really looks like. So I would love to
Yeah.
see, to be honest. Yeah.
I seen another one where I was standing and I was right in front of my entertainment center. And if my uncle didn't catch me, I would have fell through the TV. But he caught me as I
Oh,
was falling.
Because
And
he
I
cared.
laid me down.
He cared about the TV. Let's be honest. Come on. Kidding. Keep
The
going.
TV
Keep
had it
going.
coming.
and what about you, Kevin? Would you want to see it or?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Understandable.
Hard no.
I've seen people have seizures, but so that yeah, no, I wouldn't want to see myself have one. They're pretty it freaked me out. The person watching a person have a seizure, so wouldn't want to see myself do that.
Okay, so I had a seizure. Well, I had seizures to where I kind of, I guess, I was seizing, and the direction my head was looking, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, but I guess I was having a seizure. But I was watching someone in my family just in panic, and I was like, "Wow, this is what's going on." And then sometimes it happens like that to where I'm just having a seizure, and the direction my head's looking, I'm watching people in panic. I've seen some breakdown, some crying, some pull over the car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever like say you were going to the grocery store or something? I'm using that as an example because this is what happened to me. I was having a focal the entire time I was doing my grocery shopping, from when I left my house to when I got back. And like, I remembered it, but the whole time I didn't like really have any sort of control. My body was just on autopilot the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't even think I forgot anything. I think I got everything I needed too.
That's impressive.
Right.
I
Completed the grocery shopping.
Yeah. That was the only task my brain could accomplish, was just grocery shop. Do it. That's it.
Right.
Like
Um,
having
I,
and then still being able to do the whole grocery shopping. It's like I don't understand it. Like
Yeah.
what's
It,
happening?
well,
right.
that's why when they say like, our brain we only use, what is it, like 10% of our brain or something? It's like, no, that fact is actually wrong. It's you're using like certain parts of your brain at different times. So if like one part
Mhm.
is not working, your brain is able to shift to the other part of your brain and use those
Hmm.
synapses instead. So,
Mhm.
Right.
it
That makes
is, possible to, continue to function
Mhm.
despite having a seizure. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
So one thing that I was doing, and first we attributed it to the brain surgery recovery, where my neurologist had warned me that my processor speed was slow.
Mhm.
So if I had a bunch of inputs coming in, my brain would kind of like, okay, let's prioritize what's more important. So if I had too many inputs, I would kind of slow down. Well, it kept happening, especially like if I was like in a restaurant, you got a bunch of conversations going. So I would close my eyes and kind of reboot.
Mm.
So my new neurologist says, "Oh no, that's actually a seizure you're having. It's a micro
Oh,
partial." And
micropartial. I've
and
heard of
now
those.
and now
Oh,
I have
I've had
temporal
those.
lobe I have temporal lobe epilepsy. That's the version that I have. So anytime I close my eyes and I just blank out for a few seconds and then everything's fine, that's me rebooting basically.
Yeah, someone told me about a petite mal, which is basically like grand mal, but I don't exactly know what else. Petite mal. So, like I said, I thought I knew everything about epilepsy, and I knew absolutely nothing. I came and learned a whole bunch. I learned that I'm having seizures that I didn't know I was having for 10 years.
The
I feel
best
like you,
thing that yeah, the best thing that I learned in this group is my neurologist never really mentioned it, but reading all these stories about memory loss and people being forgetful and everything really helped me like understanding that I'm not dumb.
Yeah,
Like it's not
yeah.
I'm not stupid. It is something that comes with it.
yeah. It's just
So
something that comes with it, and
yeah, that really helped me.
I feel like I'm talking to someone who just understands. Someone's coming where I'm coming from, and I don't have to feel like that person's laughing at me. They're kind of laughing with me, you know? And the
Yeah.
little
Yep.
jokes, I can't take that from anybody else, but yeah.
Like for all the like the bad things that have happened to you that you can now laugh about yourself, that we're laughing coming from places that we've also shared basically the same exact thing. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
not, maybe not to the same extent. I know you crashed your car, but it's like we know exactly what you're talking about, unlike other people who may not even know what epilepsy really even is, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So,
Mm.
Yeah. Someone told me, I didn't really think he understood how offensive it was, but I did kind of laugh at it. He was like, I know you were having a seizure because you started dancing. I was like, what? He was like, you started doing your dance.
Oh,
I was just like, it is kind of funny, but coming from you is kind of offensive. But yeah,
it depends on who says it. Yeah, if it's like your best friend or whatever, you can be like, fuck you. But
right,
if it's just like some random dude, you can be like, yeah, not cool, not cool.
right. And somebody else was like, you started doing the Harlem Shake, and I was just like, it's funny,
Harlem
but
is
it's
bad.
not.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they just call them episodes, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
Eh,
Mhm.
An
yeah.
episode. Um, yeah, that's pretty easy. I mean, pretty
But
easy
to
to
be
take
honest,
from somebody. You had an episode. Okay, nice. I know what you mean. Someone
but
be like, hey, you did the Harlem Shake. I'm
yeah,
going to walk away.
before I started having epilepsy, I too thought that it's just the falling on the ground and shaking and have this tonic-clonic.
Because that's what you
Uh,
see in TV and movies.
exactly.
Yeah, that's all you
Like,
ever see.
I never thought about like memories lost and all these other stuff that come with it. Like there need to be a little bit more information spread out. Like, I don't know, like.
It's not as dramatic for TV shows if you don't show somebody shaking, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. If you just show someone zoning out for like 2 minutes and then them being like, huh? It's like it's more confusing for the audience, but if you show that, it's like, oh, we know what's happening.
Right. I've did all kinds of stuff, like go to stores and then come right back with nothing. Go to the mailbox, come back with nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
The funniest one I had, it was still early on. I had taken a shower and then I passed out from having a seizure. And when I woke up, I was on the floor and I was like laying up against the side of the tub. And I'm like, huh, okay, I guess I fell asleep. Okay.
Right.
And I hear my wife upset in the other room on the phone. And I thought she said her ex-husband fell. I'm like, oh no, poor Tim, he fell. Well, wait, why is his wife not calling? Oh, maybe he fell and she fell too. And this is going through my mind. And I hear the sirens getting closer as the ambulance was coming. I'm like, no, they're supposed to be going to New Jersey, not here. So then they come in and they start picking me up. I'm like, what are you doing? Tim fell, not me.
Right.
And as I'm in the ambulance, they're calling it in to the dispatch or whoever, and they said, okay, we got the fall victim. I'm like, whoa. It's not even summer, it's spring. I'm not a fall victim. And they're looking at me and they're like, no, you fell. Like, I did not. I said,
Right.
you're telling me that I fell, hit my head in the side of the tub. There's no blood, there's no broken bones, there's no bruising. I did not fall. It took them a long time to convince me that I fell.
Right.
Our brains can be really funny when we're popsicle though, because it like we'll be so adamant about something. Like, no, I know I am right. Like with like with Pookie being like, no, this is my house.
Right.
Right. So I got people telling me all the time, I'm a spring victim. I'm not a fall victim.
Well, and Rick, you missed my funny story. So one of my seizures, I absolutely needed to wear one of my girlfriend's like nighties. I don't know why, but yeah, I was just standing there, Winnie the Poohing, with with my dick out, and then realized it didn't fit me before she got me back to bed.
I think you posted that. I think I read
Oh,
that.
okay, so yeah,
I was
definitely
cracking up
posted
over that.
it.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. Well, now I got a visual. Great.
Panic attack versus seizures. What are the characteristics that set a panic attack apart from a focal seizure?
Mhm.
I think a panic attack comes with the anxiety, so you're panicking because you have anxiety.
Yeah, I've never suffered from a panic attack, but I know people who have, and it generally that's like more of a like a physically like you can't move, like um your brain is just so overwhelmed with like all the anxiety that it becomes a physical response where I don't know, when we have focals, like we've said, we can still function and like do stuff. We're just sort of out of it.
And I think you wouldn't get a panic attack when you're laying in the bed, like, relaxing and stuff. While having a focal or a seizure can happen while
Yeah, at any point. Yeah.
Yeah. But a panic
I've
attack is, as you said,
Oh,
always associated with. Yeah.
I've
what were
only
you gonna
had
say?
one real panic attack in my life, and that was a panic attack for sure. And it happened when I drank way too much coffee. I had like 8 cups of coffee one day,
Oof.
and I don't drink coffee anymore. That's
That'll
why.
do it.
That'll do
Yeah,
it though.
I don't know how long the panic attack. It could have been an hour. It could have been 5 minutes, and I was just like frozen on the floor, like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna freaking die. And it was awful, but it was not a seizure, and that was way different from a seizure. But yeah, I mean that whatever that was awful. I mean, but
And you really felt it like like in your whole body, right? Like,
Everything, like my mind, my body, that was just weird. That was
yeah.
bizarre. But I don't have those. I only had that once my entire life, and yeah, but whatever that was not a seizure. No.
I don't think I've had an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I just have the seizures. So
Do you smoke like normal cigarettes? Do they
no, I
have-
don't smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
No.
Because I do when I feel like it's a trigger for me, to be honest.
Mm.
That's why.
Tobacco is a stimulant. So, like if you consider it like an upper versus a downer, like tobacco is an upper, you know?
Okay, yeah, this could be. Yeah. Because I always feel like I always have those small, really small feeling like, okay, it could be happening whenever I smoke. And
Yeah.
after I realized that I stopped it completely, I was like, no, thank you. I don't need
Yeah.
it.
I feel like for most people, with epilepsy, a lot of times it is like it's the overstimulation versus the understimulation. So any sort of like anything that's gonna add stimulation to
Overwhelming.
your brain is
Mhm.
going to make it easier for a seizure to happen. You know, not saying it's going to, but it's going to make it easier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run through a few of these responses to that panic attack versus seizures. Someone said, I can run from what's triggering panic. I can't run from a seizure. He said he's on Vimpact and Lamictal. Heard of Lamictal because I'm on it. Vimpact haven't heard of. Another
So
person said,
Vinpact is also lacosamide. Lacosamide is a generic of Vinpat.
oh, okay. Someone else said an anxiety attack is overwhelming anxiety bordering on fear that causes you to sweat, shake, pace, feel out of control. When it resolves, you don't have the headache and yuckiness if it was a seizure, but sometimes they're difficult to differentiate, so you're going to need to get evaluated by an epileptologist. Either way,
Epileptologist.
yeah.
I know it's a tough word. Yeah, there's so many weird words that we have to deal with.
I know.
Yeah. Either way, is it Clonopin or Clobazam?
Clobazam.
Clobazam?
I take that. So just say Envy. That's a
Yeah. Yeah, that controls there, they said. Another one says, I don't think I ever had a panic attack, even though my PCP and psychiatrist both insisted for more than a year that my focal aware seizures were panic attacks until I had a tonic-clonic. If you're on the same boat, insist on seeing a neurologist or getting an EEG. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My primary, he barely knows anything about my epilepsy. My neurologist knows everything.
Yeah.
Been dealing with him for 20 years. Someone says, do y'all get offended if someone who doesn't have epilepsy makes a seizure joke? A question because my friend made a seizure joke today and it rubbed me the wrong way. I want to talk to her, but I don't want to seem like rude about it. It makes me very upset because she doesn't even have to deal with what comes up.
I think that's what you have to say to her.
Yeah, I think you gotta let them know.
Like, don't come off aggressive about it, but it's definitely something worth talking about. Where you just want to let them know that, like, I understand that, you don't have to deal with this, and it may just have seemed like a funny joke, but I do have to deal with this, and it's something that does affect me every day.
Any of you guys ever heard that $80 pillow?
No.
Seizure pillow, they said. Well, actually, epilepsy pillow. I guess it's for nocturnal seizures. I don't think I want it. I don't think I have seizures like in my sleep. The one that I had when I was actually laying down, I was in and out of sleep and I just had a headache, so I was laying there. Yeah. So,
Did any of you guys ever get nocturnal seizures?
Say that again?
Did any of you guys ever get nocturnal seizures?
No, not yet.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I don't. When I wake up in the morning, I sleep like a vampire. My blankets are completely the same, so I'm like, well, I at least know I wasn't shaking in my sleep.
Right.
Right.
Rick, do you get the fatigue, like the just
Oh, yes.
fatigue, like really bad?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that too. So do we all.
No.
Do you guys find that it helps, like to just stay moving? Like if you continue to move, you don't get the drowsiness, but then like the second that you sit down, your body's sort of like, okay, you need to take a nap or something.
I've been moving the whole time. If you haven't noticed.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like just staying moving and not like being static, I feel like always helps me with the pill drowsiness.
Yeah, I've been moving in
Yeah,
this chair
yeah,
the
I
whole
could see
time,
that.
moving my legs and everything.
I think when I switched medicines a few years ago, my jitteriness stopped. Um, I used to just walk around all the time, like walk around the kitchen table like a gerbil on a freaking hamster wheel or something.
Right, right.
And then just a few years ago, I think I just stopped. I got the fatigue just got worse and worse, and I don't know if it's like a middle age thing or something, or I don't know. It could be something. I don't know. I just packed on like 30 pounds, and I don't know. You tell me. Uh, uh,
Yeah,
is
my fatigue just makes it hard to get out of bed sometimes, and sometimes it's
Yeah,
just like I think I need more sleep, but I've been asleep for 10 hours.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
I operate on so little sleep. I think I only get about 6 hours a night. Um, but for some reason, I'm like my body has adjusted to that. Where I know that you're supposed to get, a good amount of sleep. Uh, with epilepsy, obviously we need our rest. But I found that as long as the sleep schedule is consistent, then it's fine. But if I start shifting around, that's where my head gets all weird. But if I'm sleeping, 12 to 6 a.m. consistently, then I'm fine. So,
okay.
I
Um,
found that it seems like with me, every third day, I need to take a nap. Like as soon as I
okay.
get home from work, or
I
actually when I'm
do.
at work,
Yep. Yep.
like all of a sudden I'll be like, hey, it's 2 p.m. I needed a nap right now. So if I'm at work, I'll start walking, and that'll at least let me be okay until I get home. Then as soon as I get home, I tell my wife, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, it's like that with me. It's like
Yep.
midday. If I'm like watching TV or something, I'm not walking around. I'm gonna take a nap. It's like I'm watching this movie because I want to watch it, but I'm sitting
Hmm.
still, so I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yep.
Yeah, can't be sitting still for too long. I'm gonna read some of these comments in the offensive jokes. Someone said I actually had someone make a seizure joke, and when I brought it up to them, they were really sorry and genuinely apologized, and it was super dope. If she's really your friend, you should be able to tell her. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Hmm.
He said, "Thank you. I just hate confrontation."
I guess
Understandable.
you don't have to think of it as a confrontation. Think of it as a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another comment. The problem with seizure jokes is the lack of originality. It's all either, I bet having sex with someone during a seizure would be fun. Then he said, quote, that's actually rape, or bad dancing. Someone said, I can laugh at some pretty tasteless jokes, even at my own expense, if they're original and funny. The problem is, I've never heard a good epilepsy joke. Me either. I also think we get shitty representation in the media. It's either crude comedy, some paranormal nonsense, or at best, a patient in the hospital. No one is ever just an epileptic just for the sake of someone's people in the world are epileptic. Sometimes people in the world are just epileptic. Okay. Let me
I
see
think
what that
people
is.
think of epilepsy and leprosy as the same thing. Like, we're not,
Hmm.
like, we don't need to be sent to a deserted island. Jesus.
Right. Someone said I make seizure jokes about myself all the time. Gallows humor is my thing. My friends make seizure jokes back at me. We laugh. It's my version of healthy. Okay.
I I do
Seizures.
kind of want to laugh at myself sometimes, and
Yeah.
I've seen a few good jokes in the media. I mean, it helps to laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
I I did hear someone describe their like having a seizure as their it feeling like there was a storm going on in their brain. To which I went, "Oh my god, Brainstorm would be the best superhero name for someone who's epileptic."
mm,
Right. Right.
Right. Let's see another one.
yeah.
Someone said, yes, they're lame, overused jokes, and they're perpetuate the concept of that epilepsy is only photosensitive grand mal epilepsy.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm,
someone said, I don't get shook up about it. Okay, good for you.
What's the statistic again for the people who are photosensitive out of the
Uh,
number of people who have epilepsy? Isn't it like 1% of the 1% of population sort of thing?
I don't even know. I don't want to lie to you. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Yeah, no, I just know like the photosensitive stuff is widely overspread where a lot of people or like 99% of people with epilepsy don't have photosensitive epilepsy, you know?
Right. I actually learned that I don't have photosynthesis seizures when I went to a epilepsy research,
Yeah.
and there was a research, and I was like, okay, this is cool. They get to research it, but they're trying to make me have a seizure. They have the cameras around. It's at Stanford Hospital, um, and then I heard someone talking about how he's getting paid for it, and I was like, "You getting paid for this?" They kind of just asked me to just do it. My doctor. Then I was like, oh, I'm out of here. You guys are getting paid and I'm just here for fun. And they're going to wait days and days until I just have it. They took me off my pills. At first, they had me on my pills. I'm like, you guys know if I keep taking my pills, I'm going to be okay. They're like, okay, we're going to take you off of them. So I'm like, I'm not going to stay.
Yeah. No,
So they're
not
like,
worth it.
hold on, please. So while the Uber is on the way, they brought out this thing, this big strobe light, and they're like looking to the light, and then it's flashing, goes slow to fast and slow and back and forth. Then they're like, close your eyes. And I did it with my eyes closed, and it didn't work. And they're like, okay, we're not sure what's going on. Well, that just means I'm not one of those having photosynthesis seizures. Seizures. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know
Whereas
why they think
in
everybody does, but yeah.
every video game that you play has to have that seizure warning at the beginning.
Right. I
see,
see the
but
seizure warning, and then I'm like, yeah, that isn't me. Click.
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
Huh?
my very first seizure was during a video game, but I never had. I mean, I'm a little photosensitive, but I'm not really. It's just a little photosensitivity, just just a little.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, they turned the heat up in the room, and it's like 90 degrees in the friggin' room, and I'm watching the board, really trying to focus on the board, trying to do chemistry in your head, and it's like a combination of things. And I had a seizure then. So
Yeah.
it's not just so like if you shine a strobe light in my eye, I'm not gonna have a seizure. But if you combine all those other triggers,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna have a damn seizure. So
Actually, one of mine was at I was at Home Depot, and you know how like when you're at Home Depot, every aisle there's like a million different things. Well,
mhm,
and they also have the bright ass fluorescence shining
Mhm.
down on you.
of
So I was
course.
trying to find a certain size nail. No, it was a screw that I needed, and just the overstimulation of reading all the different labels with the light. I had to find one of those Home Depot buckets to take a seat because I started having a focal from the overstimulation of like the light and the processing of everything.
Yeah.
That happened to me in a Hobby Lobby where my wife was looking at fabric and I was standing there and I'm like looking around and just seeing all the fabric with all the light and all the yarn and the thread colors and everything. I'm like, oh, I got dizzy. I said, all right, that's it. I got to sit down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I said that earlier. I gotta just calm down the stimulation
Hmm.
when
Uh-huh.
I just no less stimulation, and that helps a lot.
Always.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Sure, let me go to the next question because I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Sorry, man.
It says,
I think I have to leave because it's like 1 a.m. right now here.
"Oh, okay, yeah."
Wow.
Oh yeah, actually.
Man, it was really great meeting you all, and talking about this whole stuff really helps me.
Me too. I
Will be
like
great with time. Like that's really great. Hearing all
some
your
of this
story.
stuff can help other people too. With like I said, epilepsy awareness. People can
Yes.
watch this and understand a lot more than they understand, and maybe stop the jokes, few other things, whatever.
Are there
Or write better
any...
jokes.
Oh, later, Mo. Have a good night.
Later, Mo.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Bye.
Mo.
I was just gonna ask, are there any actual like podcasts about epilepsy? I haven't looked that up.
There was one I seen because I posted this for mine, but his is like it's like one a month, and it's like one person talking about it, just sitting in front of the camera. I thought it'd be a little better to do this. I'm not even gonna promote it because, yeah, I seen one, but it wasn't that
Having
interesting. It's a person talking about it to a computer.
having
Yeah, it's more
people
like a
on.
presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, much better to have people on. Yeah.
Somebody said U.S. insurance sucks. Right.
We all agree.
Mhm.
There's a long story under it. I got a letter today from my insurance company advising that the recent ambulatory EEG is not covered, according to a medical director who specializes in allergy and immunology, aka something so unrelated to neurology. The letter states that it was not medically necessary and there is no record of a standard EEG having been done. Yet my EMU stay was covered with no issue. And I repeat, this was decided by someone that has zero knowledge of neurology, which feels tantamount to me calling myself detective because I watched numerous seasons of CSI and Law and Order SVU.
Oh my.
He said, "Does that twit not know that I've been on a ridiculous number of medications prescribed by a neurologist and later an heptologist? I've had so much testing related to phase 1 of epilepsy surgery, and I'm going into phase 2, which will involve surgery. I swear to God, Downey, that this is ridiculous. I'm sure that my doctor has gotten the same letter and may have some choice word for them. I've also got the option to submit an appeal of my own. It may be best to leave it to the doctor. She'd probably have nicer way to tell them to go piss off a rope. Yeah. Somebody else said about your doctor. Your doctor can do something called peer-to-peer with a physician at the insurance company. And yes, it's ridiculous and it sucks. Will probably cost the insurance company more money to argue about than it would to just reimburse. Yay to capitalism. Yeah. My wife says, husband constantly seizing. I'm scared. He said, I need help. Please, any advice helps me. My husband got in an accident a month ago and started seizing. He seized every day since. Wow. When we saw the neurologist, we learned this weird blinking thing he's done his whole life were probably seizures, not nervous tick. But who knows? The accident made them really come out full swing. His EEG at the hospital by a different neurologist was inconclusive. So we don't know if he was born with epilepsy or what this is. He lost his ability to speak, read, and write as well. He can now do all of these things perfectly fine, but with seizures never. But the seizures never stopped. MRI and CT with and without contrast are clear. He either does a small seizure where he shakes his head and stares, or he does the whole thing where he hits the ground and convulses. They get worse at the end of the day when he's tired. He's on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra and 50 milligrams of Lamictal as well because he is still seizing on just Keppra.
I mean, this was a month ago. Like, he's gonna need some time to still recover, but that's a lot of medication, and being on a lot of medication can also lead to seizures. You know,
Right.
Yeah, well, once again, I'm not a doctor, but they got to go to the emergency room or something for that because that sounds like something else
yeah.
altogether.
My first thought was see a doctor, see a doctor, but
Yeah,
clearly it sounds like they have been.
Sounds like a second opinion is needed.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you, whoever you are. I
Yeah.
apologize for you and your husband.
Right.
yeah.
I'm going to save that one so I can say that later. Someone says coffee. Just a question mark with coffee. Do you guys drink coffee? And if so, what kind? And what is it? What's the safest to drink? Someone says, is caffeine a confirmed trigger for you? Or you're just afraid it could be? I've heard a lot about not doing caffeine. So
Somebody else want to take this?
but yeah.
Kevin, you said you're off coffee,
I'm
right?
off coffee, but I still do drink caffeine.
Okay. And Rick, coffee, yes, no?
Sometimes soda.
Yeah,
But
something.
I also heard so people who also suffer from migraines or ADHD, coffee really helps them focus and keeps the migraines away.
Mm.
And fixing that also fixes triggers for their seizures. So I know two people that do that.
Yeah.
So I think
When I
it really depends on what the trigger is.
Yeah, because like you said, for some people it does help. When I first got diagnosed, I kept drinking coffee, and I was doing it. It was essentially 4 shots of espresso in the morning, and I thought I was fine. I was just getting really jittery, but I thought it was just the caffeine. And then I had a seizure in the middle of drinking coffee, and from that point on, I started to cut down, and now I basically will only have it like I'll have maybe a cup, or like half a cup, with my girlfriend on the weekends. But I found that I can't have coffee in the morning. It has to be after I've already like eaten breakfast and lunch. Like I need the food in
Yeah,
my stomach, otherwise it's
right.
just
Mhm.
yeah, like
Uh, Rick,
Yeah. So
I got to ask you,
mm,
you take Depakote, right?
say
who?
that
I
again.
did.
Oh, great.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't like the side effects, and I requested if I could go back on what I used to be on.
okay. I was just curious about headaches and Depakote, you know?
Yes, headaches, muscle fatigue, where at one point I couldn't even lift my hand up to go sign a birthday card. I had to use my other
Wow.
arm to force myself to do it. And muscle aches, muscle fatigue, headaches, super tired, where I needed like 4 naps a day. And when I saw my neurologist, I said, "Can you get me off of this stuff?" And they had to have me wean off of it as I was going back on to lacosamide. And I noticed each week as I took less Depakote, I was feeling so much better.
Okay. Well, thank you. I
Oh, you're
appreciate that.
welcome.
That's really helpful information for anybody who might want to, swap to that med. Yeah.
Right. Someone said my family doesn't want me at the wedding because of my epilepsy. Wow.
Fuck your family. Sorry, that was
Right.
me.
No, that was my first
There's
thought also.
safe space here. You can say what you want.
He said my cousin is getting married this Saturday, and I got a wedding invitation in December. Yesterday, his mom called and said, "You better keep an eye on her." She was referring to me not throwing a seizure and ruining the wedding. My mom thought I didn't hear the conversation when I confronted her, and I told her I was refusing to go to the wedding. She said I was exaggerating, and in fact, the comment was out of compassion and that she didn't want anything to happen to me. Her tone, that's not how it sounded. She spoke as if I were a crazy brat who has serious behavior problems and tantrums. What would you do in my place? I wouldn't go.
I stand your ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I'd be
Yep.
like, hey, all right.
You don't want me there? Fine.
I don't want you to explain why, but I'm not going.
I always try to be empathetic. I always try to see the opposite side of things, and um, I know I don't have much family. Uh, always keep an open mind to why they're doing this. I know it's an awful thing they're doing that they're saying, but you only get one family, so
Right.
Yeah, and
I know.
that might be worth having a conversation,
Yeah.
Yes,
about, what do you think I'm gonna do? Why do
Yeah.
you think, I'm medicated, I'm not gonna do it, or, I'm not gonna go fall on the wedding cake, like what did you think was gonna happen?
Actually, I think asking them that question
yeah,
is probably the better option. Like, it still hold your ground if the
Mhm.
answers aren't aren't anything that makes sense.
it's
But opening up
aggravating.
that line of communication,
Yeah.
just being like, what do you really think is going to happen? And then when they give reasons, you can be like, you do realize how ridiculous this sounds, right?
Right,
And
because they
hopefully,
could be ignorant about
yeah,
what it
yeah,
actually is, and what they see on TV might be what they think's gonna happen,
yeah.
type
No,
of thing.
okay, Kevin and Rick, you guys are right. Sorry, Pookie. They swung me.
No,
They
no, I
swung
mean you were right to be angry. Yeah, it is. It's aggravating. It's infuriating, but yeah. I mean, just yeah.
Someone
That's it.
responded and they said, "Well, I cut my family off a decade ago because of how they treated me, and therefore they haven't mocked me for my speech patterns or left me out of any events or hit me for rolling my eyes for the last 10 years. So that's where I'd start. Cut that aunt right out of your life. She can go to hell, and your mom can take that walk as well." Ooh,
Ooh,
dang.
okay.
That's a little bit different because that person's coming from obviously having abuse and having to deal
Right.
with stuff over years.
Right.
We don't know how this person is with their aunt, so maybe it's, it depends on the situation. If they're just one comment, two comments, okay, talk it over. If it's like years of dealing with that, then yeah, you push them off.
Yeah.
That sounds very different. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Someone said, I'd actually go to the wedding, then randomly ask anyone who wants to break dance. Oh, man. I like the funny ones. Someone said, oh, F that. I'm literally at the bachelorette's party as we speak. There's another second party tomorrow and a wedding the day after. So, what if you're wiggly? You're still family. Yeah. Not everyone feels like that.
Yeah, that's what we would like everyone to feel like. So
Yeah.
what if you're wiggly? Your family.
Right. So, what if you're wiggly? Your family. Someone said weddings suck. You have an excuse not to go. Lucky you. Just wait for them to get divorced, and then it will be like it never happened. Hey, what wedding?
Well, you know.
And have you guys ever used like the sort of used it as an excuse to get out of something that you didn't want to go to. Just been like, sorry, my head's not feeling that great. Not gonna do it today.
Yeah.
Like,
We've
oh,
all been out.
I got to
We've
take my
done it.
meds at a certain time. Got to go.
I think I've used it because
Yeah.
it actually happened, but I don't think I've actually like lied. Like, oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm not gonna do this.
Well, I'm not gonna give you any of my excuses because I did. I mean, like in detention and stuff. I said, "Oh, I got to go take my medicine." And I know that.
I feel you there.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone else said, I just got out of a 3-day coma. Yikes.
Ooh.
I had tried to quit my Keppra cold turkey, quit weed as well, was doing well, went a few months, no seizures, started a new job that was very labor intense. I'm lifting well over 50 to 75 pounds per load at our job site when handling concrete, working in the Vegas heat as well. Streak ended a week ago. I had 4 seizures back to back. While with my kids, woke up 3 days later in the hospital. I was told I was in a coma, chipped my tooth badly, and lost lots of hours of work. Even worse, work found out about epilepsy. Concrete company was not happy about it. Back on Keppra, and just overall really down mentally about the coma. I totally understand.
Damn, that's a lot. I mean, not just cutting out meds, and I mean, I know not everyone with epilepsy smokes weed, but I I find that it does help slow my brain down. Um,
Helps me eat.
yeah, it's good for different reasons, you know. It's not a bad thing necessarily. Um, but cutting out all your sort of things at once and then going to not only labor intensive but also in a very hot situation, like you're kind of that's a double-edged sword there. You're not going to win. Like
Yeah, so
Perfect
four back to
storm, but
back is insane.
that was like a perfect storm setting up for that.
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like him. I had a seizure and I chipped my tooth, but I actually put myself in a dumb situation because I went to work for somebody who knew I couldn't work regular jobs. So they're like, okay, I went to church with them. They're like, you can work here. We don't have much for you to do. I'm like, okay, cool. Everyone's working, building stuff. And then someone's like, oh, can you go plug this up? And I'm like, what do you mean go plug this up? And he's like, if you go in the attic, I'm going to hand you the cord. And I'm like, what? Then I'm like, well, it might not happen, so let me do it. I go up in the attic. I'm on my stomach. I get to the place where the light is supposed to be. He hands me the cords. I plug it in. I got out. When I got out, he showed me this hole that I should continue digging. So I started to continue digging the hole for a foundation for a patio, and I fell in the hole. And that's when I chipped my tooth. But actually, I didn't chip my tooth right then. When I got in the ambulance, my lip was in between my teeth, and when I took it out, the tooth chipped.
Ooh. How many stitches did you need in your lip?
I didn't need any. It just
Really?
popped right out.
Nice.
Also, I had one after I got baptized. I had to go up and give my speech. Um, I don't know if it was just overwhelming with the people, but I had a seizure as soon as I got up there, and I stood up after that, and I dropped the mic, and I walked off. Have a good day, you guys. And they laughed, and someone came over like, "Oh, he's having a seizure. That's why he's doing that." Yeah, so I didn't give my speech. I dropped the mic like I gave the speech and walked away.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't write a speech, so good thing I didn't have to do it. So comments for this 3-day coma. Let's see. Someone says, sounds like you got to keep those electrolytes up and talk to doc about better medicines for you. Keppra isn't for everyone, and there's a ton of others to try. I think I personally went through 7 meds before I found one for me. She's right. Something for everyone. Yeah. Someone said you have the right attitude for when life is dropping a massive turd on your chest. Keep at it and don't give up. There are many other options for effective drugs that aren't Keppra. Hopefully, your hospital stay got you connected to their epilepsy clinic, and hopefully, you can start seeing an epileptologist, epileptologist, and hope you get better. But I know people always say, "I know how you feel," but they really don't know how we feel. I was in a coma for 2 weeks in August and still haven't gotten my life back. I finally got diagnosed with epilepsy. Oh, he said I finally diagnosed myself with epilepsy. What is going
That's
on?
that's not the way to go, but okay.
Right. I guess. See it on TV. Someone said, this is like when I missed my 2 doses and ended up in psych unit for 2 weeks. Meds are important. Ask about extended release Keppra so you can try only take it at night. Never heard that.
Yeah, that my doctor had mentioned that at one point, that it works for some people to take the extended release ones.
Yeah. They gave me Keppra, but I didn't take it. I got 2 bottles because I got these at the emergency room. And my doctor, my neurologist was like, no, don't take those. I gave you Lamictal. And then another doctor, she diagnosed nasalium. You ever heard that?
Never
Yeah,
seen
it's
that.
I never even opened it, but let's see.
Is it
I
like
was at this one place and this
like
guy
a
told me
squirt
when
up
he
your
takes
nose?
this after a seizure, it puts him to sleep. I guess so. It doesn't. I don't know. I guess you
Is
sleep
it like
afterwards, so you don't have a seizure.
is it like some form of Narcan? Yeah, it
Nasal
literally
spray,
looks
5
like
milligrams?
Narcan. That's
Yeah,
what you would give someone if they're having a drug overdose.
right. And when I got it from the doctor, she goes, "This is a rescue medication," and I'm like, in my head, "What do you mean rescue?" Because
It's Narcan. They
right.
literally gave you seizure
Yeah.
Narcan.
This one guy told me it puts him to sleep within a minute.
Yeah.
Sometimes less. He said, "Man,
I've read stories online of people going into seizures and getting Narcan. EMTs giving them Narcan.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying it earlier, where EMTs will think that you're having, a drug overdose, so they'll give you Narcan instead of addressing the actual problem because they just assume,
Right. Yeah.
Actually spoke to my neurologist about that, if I should carry a card with me or an ID bracelet, just in
I'm
case.
gonna get
Because
the bracelet."
I've heard of stories where, people got beat up, people, other things happened to them because they were having a seizure
Nice.
and they thought it was a drug overdose or something like that. So,
Yeah,
especially when
when I walked in the rehab and told him get out of my house.
right.
Could have
yeah,
been bad.
I've heard of people who have like attacked the cops that have been like, there when they wake up from their or when their popsicle is not necessarily there yet. But
Mhm.
like they're attacking the cops and it's like it's not their fault.
Right.
Right, right.
Someone asked that guy, "Sounds good. You were months seizure free, but question: Why did you choose to quit Keppra?" And he said, "The Keppra gave me headaches, makes it difficult for me to eat, and for the moment." When I was drinking and smoking and not going to church, they even got addictive. Needed them to sleep, sort of thing. Was popping 10 a day. Wow.
Whoa.
10 Keppra a day?
No, that dude was abusing his medication. That is not how that medication works.
I got to keep
Right.
going to the thread. The other person went back. They were like, can you tell your doctor if he could change you to some medication with less side effects? And then he said, question, does Keppra affect libido or manhood? um, He said, sorta. I wouldn't or care to have relations with my wife more than once a week, if that. I wouldn't have trouble getting stuff, but often more than not, I just didn't care about sex unless, of course, I was drunk. I've been there, like, I'm cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that.
Somebody said, "Damn, 10 a day and booze." Yeah, man, I
Man,
can't believe you're talking about just going cold turkey.
cold turkey off of 10 a day. When he said cold turkey, I
Right?
thought he meant like he was taking the normal like 1 in the morning,
Right,
1 at
2 or
night.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He was popping those like candy.
Right.
Do you have a
Then
do you
there's
have a
another
pet
person
dispenser?
here. There's another person who says, "Does anyone get headaches from Keppra?" And then he said, "Ever since I started on Keppra for absence seizures, since lamotrigine didn't work, I've had a headache every single morning when I wake up. Is this normal?" I never took Keppra, so I don't know.
I don't get. I think. Am I the only one on Kepra right now? Yeah, I'm the only one here on Kepra. Um, it. I don't get headaches. I think that guy needs to hydrate more. Because I did notice that. I got like I started getting really really thirsty after I started taking Kepra for some reason. I mean, I work outside on bikes, so I drink a lot of water anyway. But I'll take my I don't know where it is, my like Yeti water bottle, and I can chug the entire thing full down to empty in no time, and that's like what I use, or like that's how much I drink when I just take my pill. I think that guy needs to hydrate more.
Right. Um, yeah, like me, when I have a myoclonic, I start getting the hot flashes, and then like I get the metallic taste in my mouth that I did not know was myoclonic until I joined the group. Um, and I used to get up and I just be like, "Let me get an ice cream, something to change this flavor in my mouth." Mouth dry, and did not know I was having a seizure. So yeah, this has been very informative. Um, let's find something else.
Actually, I hate to run, but
It's all
I
right.
have to. I gotta go to the store and get stuff for dinner. So I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Nice to meet you, Kevin, Pookie, and Rick. Yeah. You message me on Reddit. So if you're doing another one of these things, hit me up again. Yeah.
Yeah, just message me because I forgot your names.
Brandon.
You know how that goes. No, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna remember that when I
Oh
get
no
to
no no! I
Reddit.
know. I'm reminding you
Send me a message and
with
you're
full
like, "I'm the
knowledge.
one from Reddit.
Don't worry. Yeah,
I'm the
I got
one
you, man.
from the chat."
Exactly. All right.
Okay,
Have a good rest of your night, guys.
All right.
you
Have a
Thanks,
too,
good one.
Brandon.
Stay safe.
man. Uh, Someone said, "I don't know what to think. I was diagnosed with focal temporal love epilepsy in February. Love or
They
lobe?
probably they probably
Well,
meant lobe.
Yeah.
yeah.
After an abnormal EEG, had a second EEG about a couple weeks later, still abnormal. I'm from a smaller city, so no epilepsy specialist. Anyways, I just spoke with my neurologist, and it's the most defeating thing. I forgot how hard it was to talk to him. I was obviously anxious and probably wasn't making sense. I don't even know what to think. I feel like he listened to half of what I was saying and said that was probably anxiety. I straight up said, "I don't like how you just said that. I am not an anxious person, and I am only anxious right now because I feel like you won't believe me. Despite the abnormal EEGs, he thinks my symptoms are functional seizures rather than epileptic now. Like he told me that it was TLE. What's TLE? Oh, the temporal lobe.
That's what I have. Yeah.
And obviously, I am stressed out, and now my whole family knows. And then all of a sudden, because I show some anxiety, that symptoms are irregular. Some could very well be functional. I have no idea. He gave me a piece of paper of what epilepsy is instead of explaining it himself. Doctors, especially neurologists, should have some sensitivity training. I just have no idea what to think now, and I was just coming to terms with having epilepsy. But he doesn't even know now. Has anyone experienced something similar? I'm lost. Uh, no,
Well,
not me.
so when I had my first seizure, went to the ER, and that's when the guy was just flipping out. Everybody, gets a seizure. Everybody's entitled to getting a seizure, and just dismissed me, let me go. Said my CAT scan looked fine. Didn't see that I had a brain abscess or an ear infection, and he says everything's fine. When had several more misdiagnoses before I fell that time and taken by ambulance, and that's when they did another CAT scan and realized I had the brain abscess. Then all of a sudden they paid attention. So yeah, I kind of had that where the guy was just flipping about, oh, everybody's entitled to one, and whatever.
Yeah, one of the comments says it can take a long time to get a diagnosis. EEG isn't the only sole diagnosis. Criterion Epilepsy Foundation helped me find a level 4 epilepsy sitter. They also have online support. I also found a lot of help from Brain Injury Alliance. A weekly Zoom support group has really been a lifesaver. Well, that's what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Then someone said, not all neurologists are specialized in epilepsy. Find someone who will listen to you. Someone said, you're very nice. Thank you. I had my third seizure some 15 days back. Had previous in July last year and 5 years back. The neurologist prescribed an additional med for the focal seizure in addition to Levira, which are already increased. Does anyone have any delayed after effects of seizures? I keep having this weird tremors seizures in my whole body when I am asleep. It's always in the afternoon, and right now it's also summer here. Oh, so this is old. It always happens when I'm in a deep sleep. Like I can feel like there are weird sensations, like not a seizure, but I can feel something is wrong, and I can't really yell or speak. Last time I thought I was just having a nightmare. The moment it goes, I'm fine. Like I will walk, check myself, and in the mirror, speak and check for weaknesses. I'm fine. I'm already dealing with hand weakness due to brain swelling. Should I inform others? I am trying to get a job and I'm finally making good progress. I am doing meditation and all. I really don't know what to do. I'm so sorry for you. Ugh. I get the weird sensation. So yeah, I understand what they mean. The focal seizures. Yeah.
After when I remember dealing with after always after my grand mal seizures or tonic-clonic, that's what I call them. Uh, it would take me nearly a full day to recover. It was That's how traumatic mine were. But um, the focal seizures, I don't think I had many of those. But my yeah, it, physically recovering from the grand mal seizures, it was those were very difficult to recover from, just all around. Uh, I would have migraines, and I would have to. I would have a whole process recovering from that. It would include uh, comfort food, and uh, I would have to take a
Yeah,
long
I'm with
hot
you.
shower.
I
Yeah,
go get some candy or something just to change the taste of my mouth.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that does suck. But also, like he said, the nightmare thing, I've had those, but it really wasn't a nightmare. It was like I'm wide awake, I'm looking a direction, and I can't move and I can't talk. And I'm trying to like talk and say something, but finally when I get the word out, I'm screaming. So
Oh, okay.
I've got that. Yeah, I don't know if that's a seizure. I guess I would have to explain that to my neurologist, but that's not it's not fun.
No.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So I have a question. So as you're recovering from a seizure, do you feel like you're talking normal or you're acting normal or things are okay, but other people around you are like, you're not making any sense, or um, you need to sit down, or like, do you feel like you're processing things okay, and other people are like, no, you're not
yeah,
making any sense.
yeah, I get that. Someone's like, sit down, you're gonna do this and this. And I'm like, I'm good now. I'm feeling it. I'm good. I feel good. I was like, but you
Yeah.
don't look good.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very erratic after a seizure. It takes me maybe like 10 minutes to remember my name even. Um, it's very, very traumatic. Like I just said there, it, and I just need space, you know,
Hmm.
for a long
Right.
time.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. It's very, very, very traumatic, and I don't like people, especially the EMTs, like launching questions at me, like the date, who's the president, what's
Hmm.
this,
Oh,
what's
I
that.
hate that. Do you know
Oh,
where you are? Of
yeah.
course I don't.
No, I
Um,
don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember
do you know
shit
the
right
date?
now.
No, I don't know the date. I didn't know the date before. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. With me, like I feel like I'm telling a story or oh yeah, at work, blah blah blah, and like people are saying like you're mixing up your words, you're not making any sense. I'm like, all right, sounds normal to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Someone said, anybody have any breakthrough ideas after a seizure? Hmm. He said, so I'm a writer. I just had a grand less than an hour ago. And for the first thing I did after becoming safe is go write down some crazy stories, ideas that popped in my head during an episode. Has this ever happened to anyone else? Aside from when Doc Brown hit his head, went unconscious, and woke up with idea for the flux capacitor. Okay.
Flux capacitor. Yeah. Uh, write down any good ideas you got. That's good. That's very
Yep,
good.
yep.
All right. Somebody said, unfortunately, the opposite. I'll have a brilliant idea and then have a seizure later and forget it. Like, damn it, at least let me write it down first. However, I will note that historically, a lot of famous creative types actually have seizures or they're epileptic.
Mhm.
Someone
Did
said, wow. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, did you see one of the posts that somebody listed famous people that have had seizures or epilepsy, and it's like Edgar Allan Poe, and there's like all these people that they list. I can't remember any of the other names right now, but it just the list just kept going and going and going and going. I thought that was
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
thing.
I actually have, let's see.
Yeah, you can look it up off ChatGPT or anything. Any you can Google them. Anyone from Prince to Dostoevsky or Lil Wayne, or yeah, a lot of great people.
Yeah. I saw that in that list. Yeah.
Yeah, there was something that the other day. Would you like an epileptic president or something like that? Would an epileptic president focus on epilepsy? I like the idea of an epileptic president because I think that would educate the world from one's experience at a high position like a president. That's one of the safest jobs, and he or she would have Secret Service for 24-hour care. Hmm.
That's interesting.
And then it said, hopefully he won't be an epileptic president, but a president.
I think
Someone
that
said,
might
I
be a
heard James Madison had epilepsy. Not a clue what he focused on, though. James Madison.
I know his wife made ice cream.
I was just thinking
Yeah, I'm familiar with uh, Dolly Madison invented ice cream, but Erdogan. I'll have to look that up later. Um, uh,
Someone said, if the public knew, I doubt they would elect him. Sad but true.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think somebody be like, yeah, we don't need to know about that. We need you to
Yeah,
take care of this.
yeah.
that. Unless it came out after election.
I don't think they would have much knowledge about it. Back in that day, they would probably write it off as something else. Uh, I think Julius Caesar also had epilepsy,
Yeah,
but
I saw that in the list
yeah.
also.
But if there was a major president who had something like that in the past, I it would probably just be written off as something else, I think.
Right. I made a post. It said, "I kneel before people who don't need alarms for pill schedules." You guys need alarms?
No, actually, I no, but that's not like a judgment on anyone else. I mean, it took so many years of practice, and um, it just does take um like routine. That would be the word I would use. Like I would take my medicine at 12 o'clock. And every time I would associate 12 o'clock medicine, 12 o'clock medicine, and it's almost obsessive, you know? Um, so just get into a routine with your medicine.
Someone
Yep,
said,
I agree.
I need alarms to eat.
Wow.
Someone said, yep, and brushing my teeth and hair too.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Someone says, I have a morning and night pill box. I have them by my watch so I don't forget. Um, yeah, I'm trying to, let's go back to the homepage, see what we can find. Question. Seasonal seizure. Hi, I'm new to this Reddit, but I was wondering if someone could help me in this. It may be just a coincidence, but last year I had a seizure around the start of May, and last night I just had another seizure, and it's the end of April. As I said, it may just be coincidence, as these are the only two I've ever had, but if someone could give me a logical answer, that would be great. Don't tell me to go to the hospital. I just did, and nothing was odd, but my first EKG reading. Okay. Someone said I'm not a doctor, but I guess humidity would be the factor triggered them, like mine, or by heat or humidity.
Could
Um,
be allergies too.
Uh,
Maybe I don't,
yeah,
allergies, asthma.
I could definitely see some relevance to, yeah, there's might be something there. I get, I don't feel well when the seasons are changing. So, yeah. Like
yeah.
my sleep patterns change when fall and spring come. So yeah.
Okay. Another one says, anyone else get dreams about having a seizure? Tried to go to sleep last night, sort of fell asleep. I don't know how, but I ended up in my dark hallway and started having a seizure. I fell to the ground and I couldn't move or barely speak. Then I woke up and my body was tense. Shit's terrifying. Does someone else have any dreams about seizure? It felt so scary. I don't think I've had any dreams about seizures. No.
Uh Recently, um when my health started to change, I started to gain weight. I started like waking up yelling, but I think off the top of my head, I can't remember because you always forget dreams. But I've been waking up yelling a lot lately, like waking up shouting a lot, and that's I don't know. I don't know if that's related to anything, but
Yeah, I get those shouting spurts. It's like I'm asleep. I can't move. I can see my eyes. I mean, I can see, I can hear, but I can't move and I can't talk. And then, like I said, like finally, when I get a word out, it's a scream. So
yeah.
I get those. I wouldn't say a dream, but then someone else said, literally, I had one last night, I believe. Though it's quite fuzzy, I remember seizures showing up frequently in my dream.
Mm, yeah.
Someone said, yes, I've dreamed about seizures and grand mal seizures. And every time I wake up startled because I think I had a seizure. I think that would be the part too. If I thought about a seizure, I might wake up like, hey, since I can wake up.
Well,
Yeah.
there's there's a lot of dread hanging on. I mean, I've been seizure free for a long time, but there's a lot of nervousness and dread still. I mean, it's a very normal feeling, and uh,
Meds that don't cause drowsiness. Are there any seizure meds that don't cause drowsiness and exhaustion? I don't think so.
They're the ones that don't work.
yeah, right.
No, I don't think I could agree. Someone said Lamictal was rough for me at first, but taking the extended release version helps. I'm gonna have to look into that. Someone said neither Tegretol or lamotrigine ever caused me drowsiness, but they're best for temporal lobe epilepsy.
Say with the lacosamide, I'm less tired than I was with the Depakote.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. I'm taking a lot of Depakote right now. Taking 1,500 right now a day. So
I don't remember what my dose was. It was 8 pills a day. But I don't
Wow.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the dose was, but I was much less tired on the lacosamide.
that sounds like a lot higher than my dose, but I have a lot of the same uh, symptoms that you talked about. So, but yeah, drowsiness, tiredness, yeah. So, but I don't know if of any medicines that don't have sleepiness or
Slow down
drowsiness.
things in your
Yeah.
brain, so I would imagine that would cause drowsiness.
Yeah, I think the same thing. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Another one. Seizures from excitement, anyone? Does anyone else get seizures triggered by excitement, high emotion? I'm finishing school this week for good, and I'm already anticipating it triggering me. I had one on New Year's Day because I was seeing family, and then one a week of my birthday because I had exciting plans. Is it just me? No, I don't have excitement or seizures from excitement. Uh, like I said, I've seen someone who laughs. She has like just laughing spurts for a few minutes, and it's crazy. I mean, not crazy because I don't want to call her crazy, but it's wild to see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Done some exciting things, and it did not trigger anything. So
Right.
Uh, no, not me personally. But we all have different triggers, so
yeah,
that's not me personally.
One of the comments was, "Oh yeah, big time. My primary triggers are stress, anxiety, extreme emotion, family events, large gatherings, trying to sleep the night before something I'm really
uh,
excited about." Hmm.
yeah, like large gatherings. Like I need space.
hmm
I could relate to that. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
I could see
Someone
that.
else. Someone else said, very much so. Since I don't have photosensitive epilepsy, I can still go to concerts and go pretty often and almost always get a seizure the morning of the concert because I'm so excited. I have a concert I've been looking forward to for over a year coming up in just over a week, and I'm already stressing that I'm going to have a seizure in the morning. I wish I could give you advice of how to control those emotions, but I'm still struggling with it myself. LOL. Just know that it's normal for stuff like this to be a trigger. Wishing you the best. Yeah, excitement. Okay.
It's always good to go out and or go to concerts. Wish you best of luck with that. Anyone who I went to a concert about 3 years ago. Uh, I didn't have any photo effects from
Me
that,
either.
but um, uh, but the day after, there was nothing, nothing too, nothing too bad. No,
Okay, I found another interesting one. I'm sorry if I cut you off. You done?
no,
Oh,
no, it was good.
someone said,
I
"Can you
kind of
guys?"
trail off a lot. Yeah.
Someone said, "Can you guys speak after a grand mal?" I can, but the question was, whenever I have a grand mal or tonic clonic, I'm unable to speak for 3 hours after. It's so frustrating because I feel I know what I want to get out, but it just won't come out. Speaking to a friend who recently had a seizure, she said she was able to speak after it. Is it dependent on the type of seizures I have? Hmm.
Um,
I can
I've
speak
heard.
after. They're always
I can't.
questioning me, so
I can't speak after either. No, no, that's perfectly normal. But I've actually heard people say that they can, but me personally, no.
okay.
Yeah. I think it
Yeah,
depends on where the seizure is taking place. So, like, no matter what type of seizure I'm having, I could talk. It's getting me to stop. That's the trick. But I,
yeah.
the only thing that I found is when I had a tonic clonic one, it was that I was talking and people said I wasn't making sense.
I've got that before. And we're like, you're not making sense. Go sit down somewhere. You're gonna have a
Right.
seizure.
Yes.
I can get the
Yeah.
words out, I guess. They won't make any sense. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Someone said, I always been able to talk a little bit, but my speech will be slurred and disorganized. I'll be confused, groggy, and forgetful. I even forgot my name once. Been there. Somebody asked me my name. I'm like, what?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
eh. Someone said, I can speak, but usually I'm out of it, whether with paramedics or friends. I'll have conversations and say stuff that won't really make sense. Then maybe an hour or so later, I'll realize and straight up ask whoever I'm speaking to if I've had a seizure. That's when they know I'm actually there now. Hmm. Yeah, I've had that. Like, did I have a seizure? Asking that, just have that
Yeah.
vibe, and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Do you
totally
know
get
your
that.
triggers, Rick?
Um, definitely.
Yeah, I don't really know my triggers yet.
But I don't get anxious that often, but if I do, that's not a trigger. Caffeine's not a trigger. I'm not photosensitivity, but definitely heat. Heat will do it.
Yeah, I heard that. People always tell me that it's hot out here. You shouldn't be doing this, that, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
One of the comments says, I feel like it has more to do with the severity of the seizure. I've had some where I can't really walk or stand long or for a couple of days, and I've had some where totally fine after a couple of hours of sleep. My husband has never said anything about me not being able to speak. He says I usually cry, panic for a second, and then usually fall back to sleep and disassociate. Another person said, I struggle sometimes. The biggest issue is I think I said words and then I realize I didn't. I think technically I can speak, but I'm not always aware that I'm not speaking because I think I did. Usually I pass out and sleep. So by default, not really speaking. Hmm.
All I can say is I got to go after this. I got to go soon, but you just be good to your body afterwards. It's a very traumatic experience, and just take care of yourself afterwards. You know, uh,
Right.
okay. You know, so just be kind to yourself, and your health is really important. And just yeah,
Yes.
just yeah,
So
listen
And
to your
really,
body.
just like just like any other type of problem that people deal with, you have to realize, you need to heal, you need to recover.
yeah.
So, having a seizure is not any different than having an asthma attack or you fall and break your leg. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we go through and we recover and we rest, we take care of ourselves, like you said. And it's the same thing with the seizures too. You're having an issue, take care of yourself. That way you'll be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I gotta go. All right. In touch with you. And all right, everyone out there, have a good day. All right.
You too.
Hey, you too.
All right. Bye.
Um,
I do need to get going. My wife keeps texting me, it's time for dinner, time for dinner. I'm like, all right, all right.
all right. Well, you have a good day, good rest of your day, and
Oh, absolutely.
it's more fun than a lot of things. So, um,
Absolutely. And it was great meeting you, and thank you so much for setting this up. It was helpful. It was great. Venting, learning, laughing. I mean, it was a great experience. I really loved it.